Broadcasting from Cincinnati, you're listening to the Ringside Reporter podcast. All the news from the world of boxing right here.
Well, I'm talking to you the way I want to talk to you.
Now, here's your host, Eric Lorda.
And we are live. Welcome to the Ringside Reporter Show, where we talk about the latest boxing news. If it's related to boxing, we'll talk about it here. My name is Eric Lorda, and I'm here with my co-host, England's adopted son, Joe Habib. And we have a great show for you today. And if you want to call and ask questions, you can call in right now at 323-870-3857. And we'll be here till about 9 tonight. Today, we're going to talk about some sad news this week, man. We lost a legend this week, Pernell Whitaker. Beeb, he was a great fighter, no?
One of the greats.
One of the greats, man. We'll tell you all about it, man. We'll tell you about his career and everything like that. Now, we got something a little bit different lined up today. We do not have D-Style. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. We don't have a train wreck of the week this week, but what we do have is a donkey of the day. But first, we get started with... I'm going to need more than this. What's the matter with you?
Oh, heck, we're out.
We're out? Beeb, you see what I deal with? You see what I deal with?
I had to stick a lot of them in my face, man, so I know how it feels. Look at that.
I have my makeup artist here now.
Look at that.
Look at the love.
That's what it's all about.
Can you give me another paper towel? Are we out? Unbelievable.
May have to go to Publix, get more paper towels.
We're going to see a lot of Publix in Florida. Oh, okay. Publix. It's Publix. See, it's Publix.
Yeah.
I'm getting yelled at. All right, I think we're good. I'm going to leave these here just for safekeeping now. Right, that's what I'm saying. All right, well, in case you needed a reminder here, Manny Pacquiao wins last night over Keith Thurman. We have a brand new Ringside Reporter champion. Beeb, you are the new champion. How are you feeling?
It still hasn't sunk in yet, you know? I mean, I'm just trying to, let it all sink in right now. It's been a while since I've held the title. This time I think I'm going to try and hold on to it for a long time. I'm going to take it more seriously. I'm going to really defend the title with honor. Before, I just... I don't know. There just weren't those matchups out there that really got my juices flowing like the one last night. This was a victory last night for the elder statesman. Me being 50.
Would it be fair to
me
say,
being 50 and Manny Pacquiao being 40? This goes to show that we're. I'm sorry. This goes to show.
No, go ahead.
This goes to show that being 40 and being 50 is not a death sentence anymore.
B, would it be fair to say that you didn't have a lot of respect for the title last time you had it?
I was complacent about it, yes. I could have been a little...
Kind of like a young champion.
Yeah.
Don't know what he has. But now he has it back, and now he's going to try to hang on to it.
Yeah, I got to try to hang on to it.
Love it. Love it. There you go. All right. Well, let's get right into it, man. The big fight last night. Keith Thurman and Manny Pacquiao for Thurman's WBA welterweight title. Manny Pacquiao wins a split decision over Keith Thurman. Scores were 115-112 twice and 114-113 for Thurman. I had it scored 114-113 Thurman. Beeb had it razor thin as well, 114-113 for Manny Pacquiao. Ringside Robert had it scored 115-112 for Pacquiao. Pacquiao set the tone for this fight in the first round as he landed a hard right hand that put Thurman on the canvas. Thurman looked as surprised as anyone after the knockdown. I mean, he really looked he looked shook up. Pacquiao, I knew it was a flash knockdown, but he seemed shook up. He seemed surprised that Pacquiao could do that to him. It was odd. Beeb, in the first round, did you notice right before the knockdown, we both thought that Thurman was winning the round.
Yes. Winning it big.
And Pacquiao was throwing shots. He was throwing those overhand shots, missing like by a mile. I mean, it didn't look good. I mean, it looked like, whoa, man. And then, of course, he lands that knockdown, seemed to change everything. Pacquiao controlled the early rounds. But I would say I gave him the first 3 rounds. I gave Pac the first 3 rounds, but I noticed in that third round he was a little bit, it looked like he was starting to fade a little bit. From the 4th round on, I gave those rounds to Thurman. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think, I'm trying to think here, I think the 10th round, when he hit him with that body shot, I gave that to Pacquiao. And the 12th round, I thought Pacquiao closed the show. But he seemed to fade in the middle rounds. I mean, he looked really good in the beginning, and he seemed to fade Thurman, using his athletic ability, his boxing ability. I don't think he confused him so much, but Pacquiao just looked tired. You know, he started actually looking his age, which we're not used to. You know, Thurman was using his movement, everything.
Well,
he was constantly.
I was going to say, I'll tell you what happened was Thurman came out aggressive, and then he switched it up and he started letting Pacquiao come to him. And as I told you, Pacquiao moves to his left when he throws his left hand instead of moving to his right. I think Keith Thurman was starting to pick up on Pacquiao's rhythm a little bit. And what happened was he allowed Pacquiao to just come to him and let him walk himself into the right hand instead of Keith being aggressive. So Keith went into counterpunch mode, and Pacquiao was getting hit time and time again with the right hand. So that's what I think started to slow him down a bit. But the big difference, I think, in the fight was every time Pacquiao landed a big shot, it had an effect, and it basically turned the fight right then and there. Whereas Pacquiao was actually walking through those right hands, and he was rolling a lot of them. It was like he saw them he caught them at the end. He saw them at the last minute, but Thurman just didn't see Pacquiao's punches, and he was stunned by a lot of them. Obviously, he didn't see that body shot. It's hard to really see a body shot because you're looking at the guy's head and shoulders, right?
How vicious was that?
Yeah, it was hard. And then the right hook kind of buzzed him a little bit. A couple times Pacquiao hit him with left hands, made him hold on. So Pacquiao to me seemed like just all around the bigger hitter here, and that was the difference. Keith looked a little bit fragile last night in this fight, to be perfectly honest with you, with all due respect. Pacquiao did not.
Yeah.
Pacquiao did not. So
Pacquiao didn't look 40 years old, tell you that. He didn't look 40. I mean, and I thought, you know what was funny about the whole thing? I thought Keith Thurman was the fresher fighter coming down the stretch. I thought he looked like he definitely had more in the gas tank. I think that knockdown shook him. I really do. I think that knockdown in the first round. And ever since then, he was worried about that power.
I agree. He never seemed mentally into this fight 100%.
Coach C made a comment that he was kissing on his wife in the dressing room. Speaking of Thurman, he had his wife in a dressing room. He was eating ice cream that morning, pizza. And, Adrian Bronner came out with a video, and again, I don't know how accurate it was or wasn't, that said that he was in the casinos gambling with Thurman like 3 or 4 in the morning, and his entourage was with him. Man, that's not a guy that's focused. It's just not. And that was the big... If we have a focused Keith Thurman, we may have a different outcome in this fight. Now, whether we do or not, I don't know. But we may have a different outcome.
Yeah.
But that was the big worry. Because on paper, let's talk about this, man. On paper, this fight's a mismatch. You got a young champion. He's bigger. He's probably, he's bigger. He's stronger. He may be just as fast. He's definitely more athletic at this age.
Yeah.
Is he a better boxer? Nah, I don't know about that, but I mean, because they're both good boxers, so you're at a high level, so you can watch that. But you got these guys. I mean, this should not have been that competitive a fight for Keith Thurman on paper, But then when you factor in, hey, Thurman hasn't fought for 4 or 5. What was he 4 fights in 3 years?
Yeah,
I think it was.
Yeah.
That takes a toll on you. And especially if you're going to try to compete at a high level, that's going to take a toll on you.
Well, I still think Pacquiao had the speed advantage. It was close, though. I think it was very close. I think he had the power advantage. But Keith Thurman's definitely an athletic guy. He's definitely a guy who's young. But here's the thing, you know, you got Manny Pacquiao. This is a guy who not too long ago cashed $150 million check, right? This is a senator, okay? This is a guy who doesn't really need boxing at this point, okay? This is a guy that has all the money that he could ever need, and he's got a career outside of boxing already set up for him, okay? Now, when going back to the elite versus very good or even great, an elite guy almost has to be obsessed with what he does. So in order for Pacquiao to do what he does, he not only has to love what he does at this point, because he's got a beautiful family, like I said. He's got a beautiful job. He's probably the most popular person in the country of the Philippines. He's like he's an icon, dare I say, God over there. Okay? He could live comfortably over there for the rest of his life. He does not need the sport of boxing. But in order for him to do what he did last night, he not only has to love the sport, he has to be obsessed with it. I mean, this guy touched 9 figures. You can count on your hand how many people have touched 9 fingers in one fight. 9 figures in one fight, excuse me. Keith Thurman hasn't even touched 8 figures yet. You know what I'm saying? So for him to be already complacent at this point in time, I get it. You know, maybe he's cool. Beeb touches high sixes right now. He's pretty cool. He's pretty comfortable with high sixes. You know, would he like sevens? Probably, but he can deal with high sixes. Some people have that level where they're comfortable. But Pacquiao was never comfortable. It was more than the money. Dare I say it? I want to sound like a hypocrite because I think fighters fight for money, blah, blah, blah. I get it. But with Pacquiao, it has to be something more. It has to be something more. What makes a 40-year-old guy who has everything get out of his bed every morning and train like he's 20? What makes a guy who's won 8 titles in 8 different divisions, what makes a guy who just beat the guy who was 2 years ago thought to be the man in the welterweight division? What motivates a guy like that? There has to be something deep down inside him. Again, it's more than love. He must eat, drink, and sleep the sport of boxing. And that's the thing. You know, Keith Thurman, we use the term overrated. And automatically, D-Style knows, we've had this conversation several times. When you use the word overrated, automatically that term has a negative connotation on it. And it really shouldn't. And I'll explain why. You go on a job interview and you lie about your, what you did in college. Yeah, I had a 4.0 GPA, but you really had a 3.6, right? Does that mean a 3.6 is bad? No, but you're not a 4.0, in other words. So my point is, Keith Thurman, less than 2 years ago, was thought to be the man to run this division. He was supposed to run this division. And in such a short time, everything unraveled for him. Whether it be injuries, I get it, but we already discussed it. No one's 100% going into fights. Everyone has injuries. Pacquiao's shoulder's fucked up, Mayweather's shoulder's fucked up. His hands are fucked up. But again, elite versus very good or even great. It's a mindset. So Keith Thurman, I think, never really lived up to what people expected him to be. Right now, going back to the prime thing, he just kind of unraveled right before our eyes in less than 2 years. Now, I get it, injuries, depression, blah, 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 but he got married, and dare I say, when I quote Teddy Atlas, who quoted another great trainer, Mickey from Rocky, "You got civilized, kid!" And that's what happened to Keith Thurman. He got civilized. So when you talk about prime years, okay, but 30 years old, this guy, in less than 2 years, maybe a year and a half ago, he was the man. He was the best welterweight in the world. He was the man to beat in this division. Now, in less than a year and a half later, 2 years later, barely 2 years later, he's really not in the conversation anymore. And you had a guy who was 40 years old, who was not what he used to be, but still good. You had a guy like that who was actually favored to beat you. And only 2 years ago, you were the man. So when you want to talk about overrated, it sounds harsh, but maybe he just was overrated. Maybe the reason why he didn't achieve what he achieved was it was his mindset. But again, that's who you are. If you don't have it inside you, then that's on you. Because this guy you have to ask yourself, did this guy honestly maximize every ounce of ability and potential he had in his body? You ask me that question about this guy, I'm going to say no. Now ask me that same question about Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao, Bernard Hopkins. These guys overachieved. Bernard Hopkins was never the fastest guy in the world, never the hardest hitter in the world, but he was always the smartest guy in the world. And why was he smart? Because he knew that I have to take care of this body if I'm going to stick around a long time, instead of unraveling in 2 years and being called, not what I was less than 2 years ago at the age of 30. So this is, once again, almost a carbon copy, not to the same degree. It's a carbon copy, but not to the same degree, because Keith Thurman's he's not the same type of personality as Adrian Broner. He's more tolerable as Adrian Broner. He's less obnoxious, but they both did similar things. They both got civilized. And you can't do that as a fighter. Manny Pacquiao did not. Floyd Mayweather did not. Miguel Cotto did not. Bernard Hopkins did not. These are guys. Evander Holyfield did not. Lennox Lewis did not. And that's the difference. That's the difference between elite and great and very good.
Yeah, I would go along with that. Somebody in the chat said that Thurman's body is made out of glass. Listen, man, anybody, you go get hit with a liver shot and you let me know. Yeah, that'll stop you in your tracks. I don't care who you are, how much you train, how many sit-ups you do, whatever you want to think. Anybody takes a liver shot, let me know how it feels. Let's talk about Thurman for a second now. You made some really good points on that. And we talked about primes the other day. Is he, as far as his boxing prime, as far as his ability and stuff like that, can he go forward, and will he ever get back to title contention, upper echelon fighters? Or is his demeanor just not there anymore? Is he just not hungry anymore? Because it's hard to get that. And sometimes, like, you see athletes that are no longer hungry anymore, and they lose, and they say they're hungry again. You never get back to where you were. I really don't think you do.
The problem is, Eric, he was in the biggest fight of his life yesterday. Yeah. And again, I'm trying very hard not to sound disrespectful, because I don't like disrespecting anybody. But he's making out with his wife in the locker room. In the locker room in the biggest fight of his career, knowing if he wins this fight, the world is his oyster. Okay? He's eating ice cream, French toast, all shit the day of the fight. Allegedly, he's going in a casino on Friday night, the day before the fight, staying up till 3 a.m, playing casino games. So my whole thing is this: if you're doing all those things and you can't get up for a fight like this, then how can you get up for any fight moving forward? So is it impossible for him to regain, some momentum and be that fighter he once was. It's not impossible, but in my own humble opinion, it is very, very improbable, if you ask me. Because if you can't get up for the fight that you were in yesterday, then what the fuck can you get up for?
I thought it was great. Great as in just ironically funny that Adrian Bronner was completely clowning Keith Thurman after that fight. This is a fight.
Oh, my God.
This is a fight now. Okay? This is a fight that I had Keith Thurman winning. One of the judges had Keith Thurman winning. You and I both saw it razor thin. It could have gone either way, razor close.
Yeah.
At one point. He fought, and he stuck in there and actually fought. Okay? Bronner is saying, I did much better. Yeah, you did much better because you didn't get knocked down. If that's your interpretation of you doing better, then yeah, you did much better. That's not the case, though. Yeah. You were 100% blown out in that fight. I don't even know that they could really. I mean, you had to search for rounds.
I gave him 2 rounds, and I'm not going to lie to you. I was trying to give him rounds. I went out of my way to give him rounds. It could have been a shutout. Could have been a shutout. I went out of my way to give him rounds, and I'm going to just come clean with that. I scored at 10-2, and I gave him every benefit of the doubt.
Absolutely. So for him to come out there and say that about Thurman, when, dude, I mean, if anybody's on the slide here, I would still pick Thurman over him. I would pick Thurman over Bronner in a fight.
What?
You watch that kind of stuff and it's like, this guy can't be for real, man. This guy cannot be for real.
I know I was hard on Thurman a little while ago, and who am I to, I'm just stating my opinion, so it's not like I'm an authority on this, but I will have to give him credit for one thing, though. He has a warrior's heart. He does have heart, this guy, because he got hurt, I would say at least maybe 3 times, pretty good in that fight. And each and every time he got hurt, he tried to come back. Now, he got hurt in that 10th round. Yeah, he came back in the 11th. You know what I'm saying? He got off to it.
Very well could have packed it in.
There was many opportunities for him to throw everything in his knapsack and tighten the top of it, throw it over his shoulder, and just pack it in. Many opportunities, and we've seen other fighters do it under less, duress than he was under last night. So you can say whatever you want about the guy. The guy is a fighter. He has a fighting spirit. He has heart. So.
He didn't run the full 10 rounds or 12 rounds and, whatever you want to call it, defense or whatever. Listen, Pernell, Whitaker, Floyd Mayweather, they didn't get hit. They had great defense, but they won fights because they threw punches. You were just in survival mode. We had one guy in there trying to win, and we had one guy in there trying not to get knocked out. That was the difference between Bronner and Thurman.
100%.
One guy, they were both trying to win. Thurman was trying to win. Pac was trying to win. 40 years old. Pac is the better guy last night. But again, man, I mean, for Bronner to come out and say that nonsense. Now, listen, that being said, if what he said was true, where he's at the casinos, all this stuff adds up. Like Keith Thurman, look, man, if you're not in it, you're not in it, and there's no shame in not being in it.
And that's what I was trying to say earlier. Like, if you're happy, what you've done is still leaps and bounds about what anyone else can do. I mean, how many fighters have never become champion before? You've made.
How many people have never gotten in the ring?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or wanted to and never got in there. I mean, this was for him to reach those levels and be considered the best welterweight in the world, and that's what he was for a time. A very short window, but it was him. He was the guy. And if you're not in it anymore, that's okay. There's no shame in that, man. Nothing wrong with that at all. But for him to not be in it and do the things he's doing, he's going to get hurt. He's going to get hurt, man.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Well, let me ask you this one question real quick. Were there points in the fight where you thought that Thurman looked like he was going to go, meaning he was going to get stopped? After that body shot, I thought there was potential for him to get knocked out during that exchange.
Yeah. You know, in that first round, I watched it. He went down like he was shot in that first round. That's why I thought their feet might have got tangled up. It was definitely a punch, clear right hand. But I'm wondering if their feet got tangled up. I saw the replay today where it showed like the full, full screen. Nowhere near his feet.
It was right on the he caught him perfectly on the point of the chin with that shot, and he turns it over beautifully.
But to me, it was a flash type knockdown. He got up, he didn't seem hurt, and was able to finish the round. Not much time in the round, but he was able to come out in the second round, and he was okay. The 10th round, at no point, I'll tell you this though, but at no point did Pacquiao was taking a lot of shots though. My thing was that Pacquiao was taking right hand after right hand, and he was taking them.
You were concerned with that last night.
Whether he saw it coming.
You were concerned with that last night.
I said, hey, his corner may want to think about this because he's taking a lot of shots. And for a 40-year-old guy to take that many shots to the face, and, everybody's talking about Thurman's face and he got popped. Yeah, he did. But if you take a look at Pacquiao's face, Pacquiao was swollen. He was really swollen.
Yeah, he generally gets swelled up, though. He's got a lot of scar tissue now.
Yeah. Thurman, though, I thought could have went in the 10th round. When he got clipped, because I thought Thurman was well on his way until that 10th round, and that's when it turned again. And I gave Pac two of the three of the last rounds, and I think two of the three judges gave him the last two.
You want to hear an interesting fun fact? And correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't think I am. But who was the guy? It's Glenn Feldman, right? He was the guy that gave Thurman the 12th round, and a lot of people think that was a clear Pacquiao round. It was hard to give it to Thurman. I kind of thought that it was
I thought that round could have went either way. Now I gave it to Pacquiao, but I didn't think that was so like clear cut. Like I was, offended that he gave him the 12th round. I would have been offended if they gave Thurman the 10th round. You know what I mean?
But a lot of people are saying that they're a little bit surprised he did that. But wasn't he the same judge that did that in the Canelo fight with Golovkin? Like, remember round 7 looked like a clear Golovkin round? And he was the guy that scored the fight a draw, but he scored that 7th round for Canelo.
I remember that 7th round. Well, Adelaide Bird was the one that scored that 7th round, I believe. Or maybe she had it right.
There was one, I think he scored it. No, she actually scored that for Golovkin. I believe he was the only one that scored that 7th round for Canelo.
The one round that Bird got right.
So if he scores that round for Golovkin, then Golovkin wins that fight. And if he scores the 12th round like the other two judges, then it's a unanimous decision. So it's just interesting that a couple of key occasions in fights, he sees the opposite of what the other two judges see.
Well, I got Feldman's card pulled up right here. Let's see here. From round 6 to 12, Thurman won every round, of course, except for the 9th round.
Yeah. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, I was surprised he didn't get the 12th round. I mean, Pacquiao seemed to me, he seemed to close the show. But Thurman landed some good shots there too. I mean, I could see it going either way. I kind of moved for Pacquiao to take that last round. But where he came up on my scorecard was right in the mid rounds. Let me see if I can bring this up here. Yeah, I gave Glenn Robbie just texted me. Ringside Robbie just texted me. He said Glenn Feldman is the one that scored that 7th round for the Canelo fight. That actually got the draw. So I had Pacquiao taking the first 3 rounds, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 8 and 9 I gave to Thurman. 10 and 12 I gave to Pac. 11 I gave to Thurman. I thought he did pretty well.
Did Robbie give the 12th round to Pacquiao?
Let me see. Robert, if you're listening, I'll tell you what, he's on the line. Hang on one second. Let me bring him on. Robert,
hello, guys.
Hey, what's up?
Yes, I did give Pacquiao the 12th, Beeb.
Okay. So it's kind of interesting that Glenn Feldman didn't, in two fights in two key rounds, he sees the opposite of what the other two see. But I'm not saying that's a conspiracy or anything. It was just kind of weird how coincidental that was.
No, I respect Glenn Feldman because he's judged a lot of big fights.
Yes.
The kind of judges I have difficulty with are the Adelaide Birds or the C.J. Rosses or people of that ilk.
And his scorecard honestly wasn't like totally out of 114, 113.
Yeah, it wasn't impossible.
Yeah.
It wasn't impossible.
It was not.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad scorecard. I mean.
And I got to tell you guys, I was about ready to give Thurman the first round until the knockdown occurred.
Yeah, we were too. Yeah. He had a pretty good first round until he got knocked down.
Yep. And Joe, I think you're absolutely correct. I think since Keith Thurman got injured and he got married, his life has completely changed, and I really don't think he's dedicated to the sport of boxing like you have to be. I think his life is elsewhere, and he just kind of does boxing as a way to make money. And I mean, to me, if you didn't know that Manny Pacquiao was 10 years older than he was, it almost at times looked like Thurman was the one that was older and shouldn't have been in there anymore.
100%. I was telling Eric that last night. Like, he looked like the older fighter instead of Pacquiao in certain spots. Yeah. Not the whole fight, obviously, but in certain spots.
Yeah.
No,
it was a very competitive. It was a very competitive fight. The undercard needed a lot of work, but the main event was well worth the price of admission. They gave us a good show.
Well, here's another thing too. Like, once you get injured multiple times, then you start saying to yourself, am I going to get injured again? And then you start second guessing yourself, and then you ask yourself, do I want to keep doing this and putting my body under this stress if I'm going to keep getting injured or not? So that's another way of looking at it. Like, you just get that sense of apprehension when you're doing, things you used to do before, like your training and all that stuff. Your mindset just changes, So maybe the injuries had an effect on him as well too, because he suffered a lot of injuries in a short period of time, very close together. So that, who knows how that affected him mentally as well.
Right. But I don't know. Maybe he should have taken another fight before taking this Pacquiao fight, because he didn't look good in the Josecito Lopez fight either. Yeah,
he said that he should have taken another fight. But I hate to sound like a jerk, and I told Eric this last night. It's actually better for the division that he lost, because he was prepared to hold that WBA title hostage. He really was.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but that's going by what he was saying and how he was sounding, talking about his schedule for the next year or so. Already telling everyone he was taking the rest of the year off. So.
Yeah. He was going to be at the welterweight Adonis Stevenson, where he just took the title hostage.
It's just like, I wasn't looking forward to that as a boxing fan.
No.
Yeah. Exactly, man. Insane. All right, Robbie, let me put you back on hold here. We'll bring you back on here in a little bit.
All right.
All right. So let me ask you, Beeb. Last night was a big deal. A lot of people may point to the fact that, there was no VADA testing. Yeah. They'll point to the fact that Thurman only fought 4 times in 3 years. All that being said, you can't really take away what Pacquiao did last night. He's 40 years old. To go in there and do what he did is nothing short of amazing. And you say, you talk about George Foreman when he knocked out Michael Moorer. All right. He was a heavyweight, and, he's got that punch, and he was losing the fight. He only won 2 rounds in the fight. I think he only won one round until that knockout round. So he was losing that fight pretty clear, but he landed a punch. And Pacquiao he doesn't really have that punch anymore. He's got enough to keep you off you, but he doesn't have that one punch power. So for him to go in there and do this with guys that are, a lot younger than him, a lot more athletic than him at this point in his career, it just baffles me.
Yeah, it really does. It's like I said, he's an anomaly.
Where does this put him? And we talked about this earlier, I have a hard time. Listen, man, the guy's an 8-division world champion, eight different weight classes. That right there is just unheard of. That's just if you were to tell me that somebody coming up can do 8 different weight classes, I say you're crazy. That's impossible. It's not. He did it. The guy is 40 years old. He's still competing at a pretty high level. He's gone through losses. He's come back from those losses. Is this guy the best ever?
That's very tough.
Is he better than Mayweather?
I'm going to say what I said last night. He's in the conversation. He's in the conversation. I think Mayweather is better, but I have to concede one point that Manny Pacquiao has more accomplishments. He really does. He has more accomplishments. I can't deny that. As a fighter, Manny Pacquiao has done more than Floyd Mayweather has in terms of accomplishments. Does that mean he's a better fighter? No. But once again, that means he has better accomplishments.
Yeah. We saw what happened when they put them together, and listen, you could say, well, hey, he had shoulder surgery. Listen, it is what it is. He lost the fight. He went in there and he lost, and that's okay. That happens. I know he did have rotator cuff surgery after the fact, but hey, you chose to go in and fight. So now it's on you. You lost. But I have a tough time other than, we talked about this also, man. Floyd didn't exactly, when you talk about Floyd Mayweather, he didn't always take the guys at the heights. He always waited for him to age a little bit, or he always waited for that career to run a little bit, show some slippage.
That's what people say.
That's what a lot of people say. Yeah.
I get it. But to me, I know a lot of people disagree with this, but this is just my stance on the whole thing. I think that his greatest win, a lot of people are going to say it's Corrales. To me, his greatest,
Mayweather?
To me, his greatest win was the Canelo fight. And people are going to keep telling me he was green, he wasn't ready. The guy had 40-something fights. He beat Austin Trout, who was held in very high regard at the time. And he was 37 when he did it. Okay? So, to me, at 30, and just as my opinion, it's just hard for me to fathom that a 37-year-old man would run circles around a 24-year-old man the way Mayweather was able to do that night. So
yeah, my issue with that, my counter to that would be Austin Trout was really the only name he had fought. That was really the only.
That's
guy
correct, because Shane Mosley was past it when he fought him. That's correct.
So that was the only guy that Canelo fought coming up, and they were trying to groom this guy like Chavez, so they put a lot of guys under him to keep him busy. And the guys that he fought, they were stay busy fights, a lot like the Chavez, where he would go back to Mexico and give his fans a show and everything. I don't know, man. It's tough. That's a tough one to me. I don't think that would be his best win, because now the Canelo that just beat Triple G, or instead of fighting Berto in his last fight, what if he'd have fought Canelo?
But again,
I think it would have been a different
But let me ask you this question, and I'm not accusing you of this, but there's a lot of double standard. There's a lot of double standard out there with a lot of boxing fans. Didn't Canelo wait for Triple G to get old before he fought him? Isn't Canelo fight?
100%.
He's doing it.
I don't think there's any.
He's doing the same thing to Kovalev too. You know. Now,
sure. Well, you can argue Kovalev's there now.
Now, again, we do know that Alvarez has the best resume in boxing, and at least in our opinions.
Yeah.
But I think so. He's done a little bit of the same thing too. You know.
That's true, but the counter, of course, would be, hey, I'm not really talking about Alvarez being the best ever.
That's correct. That's correct.
You know, I'm not talking about him being
that's
the
a good
best ever.
counterpoint.
And I'll be honest. Once his career is done, I'm still not going to have that conversation.
Yeah. And here's the other argument about. Well, not only that. Here's the other argument about Canelo Alvarez, and it's really not a fair argument, but it's still an argument that's put out there. A lot of people want to put asterisks next to some of these wins because they feel that he really didn't win the fights. You really can't do that because the official decision is the official decision. But Robert Palmer made one point to me, and I thought it was a good point. I kind of didn't agree with it 100%, but the point did have validity. He said to me, "How can we consider Alvarez great when he's never actually really dominated or had a real clean, decisive victory over another, top level elite fighter? He's never really all his toughest fights. We found ourselves saying at the end of them, except for the Mayweather fight, we either thought he lost or we said, well, could have really gone either way. He's really never put his stamp on anything, on a fight really yet. He's never closed the show and had a decisive, clear, decisive victory over a really great fighter. There's always been some type of controversy in all of the big fights. So will that follow him around 10 years from now? Maybe, probably not. But but a lot of people are talking about that right now. Whenever you're talking about, and this is pretty sad, and I know we're kind of going off on taking a left turn here, but the thing is this: when you hear a guy is fighting, when you hear Canelo's fighting somebody, and after before every fight, we're saying to ourselves, well, the scorecards are going to be filled out before the decision's announced. To me, that's a problem, and I hate to does that take away from how good he is or how great of a fighter he is? It shouldn't, but we still talk about it. It's still there. We can't ignore it. So a lot of people bet on fights, and a lot of times you'll hear someone say, "Well, I think this guy is going to beat Canelo, but I don't think he's going to get the decision." That sucks.
Yeah, and and that's the thing with Canelo. You feel that way. Nobody's going to beat him in Vegas. I mean, when we had we were talking about Triple G, and Triple G didn't want to fight him in Vegas, and we knew why. I mean, and that's what I said in that second fight. He's going right back to Vegas. He's going to lose the decision. Because he won that first fight. I mean, I feel that he won the first fight. Judges didn't. Judges called it a draw, whatever. But I think most of us felt consensus was that he won that fight, that Triple G won.
Yeah, the first fight,
pretty handily.
It was. You can have a competitive fight, but still have a clear winner. You know what I mean? Sure. I don't think Triple G schooled Canelo, but he definitely won the fight, in my opinion.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Second fight, now that's up for debate.
Yeah.
Second fight was a lot closer. A lot of people say Canelo won it.
Yeah.
It is what some people say it was a draw.
Yeah.
Not too many people say that Triple G won it. So that's how it was either a draw or Canelo,
more people still. It was a lot of people still thought Triple G won, but there was a strong argument for Canelo this time around.
Yeah,
I thought
for sure.
But
so, let me ask you this: what's if you're Keith Thurman, what do you do next?
If I'm Keith Thurman, I rebuild. I take fighter. I do what Adrian Broner does after. You see what Adrian Broner does after every loss. He goes and fights mid-level guys. Tries to get a couple wins, rebuild them.
It's a good move.
I mean, if I'm sitting down with Keith Thurman and he's adamant about continuing his career, I'm putting him in there with some mid-level guys. I'm finding some more hosts. I'm finding a couple more Josecito Lopez's, at least 2 more Josecito Lopez's, and I'm putting him in there with 2 more Josecito Lopez's for his next 2 fights, and then I'm gonna kind of assess the situation after that and see where we're at. But I don't throw him back in there with. I wouldn't throw him back in there with even a Yordenis Ugas right now. That guy's kind of hot. That guy's hot right now.
Yeah, he is.
You know,
he really is. Now, if you're Manny, what do you do?
Honestly, if I'm Manny's manager, this is going to sound ridiculous, and the boxing fans are going to hate this. I think you already know what I'm going to say. I'm fighting Amir Khan in Dubai. That's what I'm doing.
That's what I'm doing. That's got to be a big money fight over there, no?
Well,
I mean, it has to be, right?
Amir Khan fought Billy Dib over there, and he got paid pretty good for Billy Dib, with all due respect. So what's going to happen if they can throw a Manny Pacquiao fight together? I got a feeling that there's somebody over there that wants that fight, and they're willing to put it on.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, man. I think that too.
Jason made a great point. He said Thurman should fight friggin' Broner. That would be a good fight, man.
That's a perfect fight. That's a perfect fight for both of them. Broner's got Ivan Redcat coming up, I believe in October. He gets past that. That'll take him into the next year, and I think he can fight Keith Thurman. That's a good comeback fight for both of those. That's a good fight for both of those guys because it's a money fight. That's a main event fight. It's not going to be on pay-per-view, but it's a good fight. Solid fight. You get some solid.
Tony Yayo said he heard that Amir Khan got $7 million for Billy Dib. I don't know if he got that much, but I don't know. But I do know he got. It is been said that he did get 7 figures. I don't know if that's true or not.
I read last night that Thurman was supposed to get $8 million when it was all said and done. They posted that he got he was guaranteed $2.5 million, and I think Pacquiao was guaranteed $10 million.
That's
if I'm not mistaken. The back end money, they're talking about Thurman getting $8 million and Pacquiao getting like right around $20 million,
which is great.
So, but I find it hard to believe that Amir Khan got $7 million.
Yeah, I'm skeptical about that as well.
And again, listen, man, I ain't got no proof.
I'll be honest with you. If I was to guess what Amir Khan got to fight Billy Dib over there, I would say $3 or $4 million. Even that could be considered high, but I have a feeling that they paid him pretty good money.
That's a lot.
I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say he probably got like $3 million, maybe. I don't know. I could be wrong.
Yeah, that's still a lot of money though. It's not like it's chump change.
Yeah, I could be wrong though. I mean, I don't know. Now people are asking in the chat, should we count Manny's IBO 140-pound title? Well, they're counting it, so it is being counted. So
I think it's more fun to count it, but they're not like they're not, and I see what they're talking about because they're not like a major sanctioning body, but. You and I, we had the conversation the other day about all these, we got like the IBF, you got the WBC, you got the WBA, you got the WBO. Where does it stop? I mean, where does it stop?
Hatton was thought of as the top guy at 140 when Pacquiao fought him. So I think that's why people count that belt. But in general, AIBO is not a huge belt. But we have to ask ourselves, does the belt make the fighter or does the fighter make the belt? Sometimes the fighter makes the belt. Sometimes the belt makes the fighter. It depends on who the fighter is. Right? Really, Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather, they make the belt. Canelo Alvarez makes the belt. Lennox Lewis made the belt. Vladimir Klitschko made the belt. That's the way it is.
And you talk about Vladimir Klitschko. Think about how long he held those titles. And how long he held all of those titles. Under all the criticism and everything like that, he didn't care.
No, he didn't.
He was able
to win. Just wanted to win.
He just won. And he fought whoever they put in front of him. And it had to be, he was dictated to by all those guys. And he said, nope, the most important thing is keeping all his men.
Never ducked a mandatory, never. Not once.
No.
Not once. Never got stripped.
And, while his competition wasn't, it wasn't the classic heavyweight era, he fought who he could. It's not
wasn't his fault.
He can only fight who's put in front.
100%. 100% was not his fault. I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
All right. So let's move along here. Yordenis Ugas on the co-main versus Omar Figueroa Jr., the WBC welterweight eliminator. Man, this was a tough one to watch, man. Ugas won a unanimous decision over Figueroa by the scores of 119-107 on all cards. Figueroa was down in the first round and was just dominated the entire fight. The reason it wasn't 120 is that Ugas was a point was taken away from him in the fourth round.
Ridiculous.
This was it was a bad point. Horrible style matchup for Figueroa. And let me tell you what, Figueroa's corner did not do him any favors in this fight. Honestly, the fight should have been stopped. He was taking a lot of punishment. And he was getting banged up, and he wasn't competitive. He was getting touched up. He wasn't competitive. He wasn't in the fight. He wasn't going to win a round. He wasn't winning anything. Why move him? What kind of moral victory is this? Really? What kind of
I get sick when I see these fighters and these trainers look for these moral victories like it's some badge of honor going the distance and losing your brain cells at the same time. I just don't get it. I don't understand. Like the trainer is not the one taking the shots. You have to. I want to ask a trainer one day, if you were in the ring taking the same shots that the fighter was taking, what would you do? How would you feel? Would you feel like you could continue, or would you rather the fight be stopped, even knowing that you're hopelessly behind? You don't have a snowball's chance of hell in winning the fight. You're getting beat up. Your face is busted open. Like, what would you do? So.
And the one thing they made mention of in the broadcast is that Figueroa trained himself for the fight. This is an undefeated fighter.
Yeah.
What is going on over there? Seriously, what kind of problems is that guy having? When to go in there and get bent up like that, man. And listen, man, if it's not his corner, if it's just a guy he hired like a night before, hey, why don't you come corner? They're not going to stop the fight. You know what I mean? Because they, listen, man, he's giving me money to be here. Maybe you want to think about stopping this? No, good. All right, go ahead.
That's kind of fucked up, but it's true, I guess, to a degree.
Yeah. He looked terrible last night. But, I've never been a big Figueroa fan. Always thought that he gets hit way too much.
He has horrible defense.
Way too much.
Yeah. Horrible. He's got, again, I'm not trying to dump on the guy, but he's got probably one of the worst defenses I've ever seen in the sport of boxing.
Yeah. He's got to have, for him to train himself for a fight, he's got to have some personal issues going on.
Yeah.
He just, you know what I mean? That stuff, that doesn't happen. You know what I mean? That stuff does not happen. You don't just train yourself for a fight.
Well,
you had to have.
It's just like when we interviewed him, and he said the fight. We asked him if the fight was going to be at 140, and he was adamant about saying, "Yeah, it's going to be at 140." Then we find out it's at 147, a weight that he should never be fighting at. He's not a welterweight.
No, and at 140. It was pretty clear. And Ugas is a handful for anybody. He's a handful for anybody. He's tall. He's lanky. He's awkward. He just smashed him. That fight wasn't even close. Son.
Do you remember that interview? That pissed me off because you said I heard the fight's at welterweight, and he interrupted you and said, "No, it's going to be at 140. No. I can make. I'm already on weight right now." And then the weigh-in was like 2 days later, and he was like, and then we found out the fight was at 147. It's like I was fucking pissed. It's like you're sitting there fucking correcting Eric on the show. And he was actually right. And he probably knew at that point in time, with a couple of days to go, or whatever, however long it wasn't too far off from the fight when we interviewed him. Probably knew he wasn't going to make weight right at that time. He probably knew it. Fighter knows if he's going to make weight or not.
Yeah.
He knows where he's at.
Guys out there, if you like what we're doing and we're entertaining you, go ahead and hit the like button. lot of people watching. I want more likes, man. Come on, let's get some more likes in there. So let's get it going. Already 2 dislikes. How dare you? How dare you? That must have been when we were talking about Floyd.
Yeah.
I don't know. They don't like it. Nobody disrespects
You can't say anything about Floyd.
Floyd or Pacquiao.
Unless
you can't say anything bad.
Unless it's a fucking compliment. Right?
How dare you? You can't insult Floyd. Sergey Lipinets versus J.R. Ensign, 10 rounds welterweights. Listen, man, J.R. Ensign was a 24-hour replacement. Wow. He took this fight like the day before. And the worst part about it, Lipinets was training for somebody else.
Yeah, he's training for Molina.
And now he's got to train for like a southpaw or something. I'm like,
wow.
There's nothing they could do with this, you know? So you don't know if the guy, you don't know much about the guy. And you don't have a lot of time to break it down. You got less than 24 hours to break it down.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I thought Goosen, I thought Lipinets and his team or whatever did a great job with this fight.
Blew him out.
TKO in the second round. Ensign was just way over his head in this fight, man. Just way over his head. Ensign got dropped in the second. He got up, man. He looked like he could have continued, but the fight was stopped. I thought it was a quick stoppage, but that being said, it doesn't.
Yeah, it was inevitable.
Because he wasn't winning the fight. Yeah, he wasn't.
I didn't hate that stoppage.
No, I didn't either. That wasn't bad at all. This was the one of all the ones on the card I was looking forward to the most, man. Luis Neri versus Juan Carlos Payano. I'm a big Payano fan. I just like the way he fights. I think he's a really good fighter. I like the way he fights. He's been on the end of it lately, but yeah, man, it is what it is. Luis Neri knocks out Juan Carlos Payano in the 9th round with a left hook to the body. It was vicious. You had to go to the replay to see it because I didn't catch it real time. I don't think the announcers caught it real time. Nobody caught it real time. It was quick. It was painful. It was just like boom out of nowhere. That being said, man, Payano started out fast and he looked really good. I thought Neri was going to come in there and pull an Inoue and get him out of there within 3 rounds. Nah, man, Payano looked really, really good. But Neri's pressure, man, was just too much for him. It really was. Payano started getting hit more and more, started to fade, and put that left hook to the body, and he got counted out. Payano got counted out. So, man. So I'm watching that fight, and I'm thinking to myself, what would Inoue versus Neri look
Not good.
like? I don't know, man. That's
not good.
The way Payano was boxing, in there and outboxing Neri in that fight. I mean, it was, and not only that, Neri came in a half a pound over. He had an hour to lose that. He ultimately made weight. This dude, all the time, comes in overweight, all the time. I mean, it's crazy. I don't even know if he can make weight for an Inoue fight.
I'd love to see what this guy's does during a training camp, what he's eating and shit. I'd love to
pizza, ice cream, waffles like Thurman, you know.
You know, and look what fucking Inoue did against Payano, knocked him out in 1 round.
That fight wasn't even close, and that was the fight I was looking forward to. I mean, I said, you know, if Inoue is going to be something, this is going to tell you what what that fight would, what if he's for real. We're going to find out here. Iced him.
Well, look at the Emmanuel Rodriguez fight. We thought that fight was going to be very competitive, and that fight wasn't competitive at all either.
Man,
that was a destruction.
Fight. That was a fight I was really looking forward to, man. I was like, that was another one. So Inoue has become like must-see TV for me. Anytime he fights, I got to watch it. I got to see what's going on. He's like that lightweight Mike Tyson, that lighter weight Mike Tyson. It's freakish.
You could argue you could argue him and Wilder are the 2 most exciting fighters in the sport right now.
Oh, without question. I think without question they are. I mean, for those 2, you would stop what you're doing to watch.
Yeah, I do. I make sure I watch it. I make sure I watch Inoue.
Yeah. It's insane.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, before the main card got started, they had the Fox card, and Caleb Plant versus Mike Lee, friend of the show. Caleb
Destruction.
Plant, 12 rounds.
Destruction.
It was. It was completely one-sided, and I think we all thought that. I didn't know he was going to knock him out. When he.
I felt bad for Mike Lee in that fight. He was getting handled. He was getting handled.
Listen, this is not a knock on Mike Lee. I'm sure he's a very nice guy, but Caleb Plant, and we couldn't really get it out of him, But I felt with the press conference. I felt when we interviewed him, he didn't like Mike Lee. And he didn't like Mike Lee because he played football. He was more manufactured. He boxed, he played football. He never really fought anybody of note coming into this fight to deserve a title shot. And I even asked him, I said, are you mad? Do you think he doesn't deserve a title shot? And he's like, well, they're putting him in front of me, so he's going to get a title shot. He didn't think he deserved to be in there. And Plant did exactly.
Yeah, it seemed like he didn't even really want to fight the guy. He didn't feel like he needed to fight the guy.
I think he was mad he had to fight him. I do. I think he was mad he had to fight him. And the guy's got a degree from Notre Dame. He played football. He's on the. He's got all of a sudden he's got an endorsement from Subway. He's on commercials, and it's like, man, Caleb Plant is a better boxer, better guy.
Yeah.
He's a champion. Why am I not getting recognized?
Yeah.
And I think he just took it out on him, man. I think he just took it out on him.
Yeah.
The heir apparent in a lot of people's eyes, F.A. Ajagba, the heavyweight, the guy everybody's calling the next heavyweight champion, the next guy. He fought a guy named Ali Aren Demirezen. 10 rounds. Ajagba, rare distance fight. Went the distance with him. He went the full 10. Won a unanimous decision, 99-91 twice and 97-93. The one thing of note in here was Adelaide Byrd, 99-91. Now, I read a lot of people. I didn't actually catch this fight, but I read a lot of people said that Ajagba didn't look good.
Yeah.
That being said, did he just not look good because he didn't knock the guy out in 30 seconds? Or the guy didn't climb out of the ring when the bell rang? Or did he not look good because he showed some serious flaws? I don't know. I got to go back and look at it. But I like Ajagba. I like Ajagba a lot. Is he the next guy? I don't know, but he's exciting to watch. He's definitely better than Joe Joyce.
Yeah.
So put it like that. So, all right, let's move ahead here. On DAZN. Now, Beeb, you did a live cast on this.
Yes.
Very good stuff here, man.
Thank you.
Dillian White and Oscar Rivas for the vacant WBC interim heavyweight title, and that's important. I'll tell you why here in a minute. Dillian White won a unanimous decision over Oscar Rivas by the scores of 115-112 twice and 116-111. White came out. He looked out of shape in this fight. He really
always does.
But, he was able to rock Oscar Rivas in the second round, and from my vantage point after that, seemed to take control of the fight. White was just using his jab. He was doubling his jab up and just seemed to keep him off balance. Rivas was the aggressor in this fight, and a lot of times. But he just couldn't, to me, he just was never able to put it together. White was knocked down in the 9th round. I think Rivas hit him with an uppercut, but White recovered and was able to finish the fight. So there you go. What were your thoughts? Now, Joe, I know you had this fight a little bit different. What were your thoughts on this fight, and how did you
thought White was fighting in spurts, where Rivas was really, I thought, was outworking White a lot. I thought Rivas's jab was landing too. I thought early in the fight, I thought that Rivas had a good opening 2 rounds. I thought that his jab was more authoritative. He was stepping in with it. It was more of a punch to dictate how the pace of the fight, to dictate his offense. It kind of controlled things, I thought, because White was being pushed back. Now, you can argue that White was going back on purpose, trying to land the counter right hand, but I didn't see it that way because White was going back to the ropes, and he seemed like he was just lying there and taking a lot of the rounds off. A great portion of each round off. Whereas I thought Rivas, even though he wasn't landing clean, this wasn't a fight where either guy was really landing clean shots. There was a few clean shots here and there, but a lot of shots were being partially blocked. A lot of guys, a lot of times both guys were loading up with with the right hand sometimes. But I thought Rivas did better work to the body, and I thought he was stepping in with his jab, and I thought he was landing more jabs than White was. Now, I thought after the 9th round, when Rivas did knock White down, I thought he kind of punched himself out, and I thought he lost the 10th and the 11th. But I thought he actually finished strong and pulled out the 12th round. So I just saw Rivas doing a lot more. I didn't think either guy landed real quality shots, a lot of real quality shots. So in that instance, I'm going to go with the guy who's more busier. And again, I don't think Rivas was getting credit for what he was doing in there. If you watched the broadcast with the Sky commentators and the whole telecast, they kept showing what White was doing. They kept showing replays of White. They didn't show anything of what Rivas was doing. And Rivas did some good work, good body work in there. He was pushing White back, landed some good jabs himself. And that right hand, I kept saying during the broadcast, it's getting closer, it's getting closer, it's getting closer. And finally it did get close, and it almost took White out of there. I thought White was going to get stopped in that instance, but Rivas, for whatever reason, punched himself out. And credit to White for hanging in there. But this was almost like the Joe Joyce-Brian Jennings fight, where I thought Jennings was doing cleaner work, more efficient work, and you thought that Joe Joyce was just outworking him. The problem I have in this fight was I thought White wasn't doing nearly as much as Jennings was doing. Jennings was landing combinations. White was landing one shot at a time. Jennings was winning and being busy large portions of rounds, where White was taking large portions of the round off. And Rivas fought hard from start to finish in all the rounds, except for later in the fight, the 10th and 11th, when, after he punched himself out in the 9th, that's when I thought White started turning the fight a little bit. But at that point in time, there was too many rounds in the bank, I thought, for Rivas, where it wouldn't have mattered anyways. So I just saw it differently than a lot of other people. And interestingly enough, the people that were watching the fight with me were scoring rounds for Rivas. They thought Rivas won too. I don't know if it was me influencing them or not, but they said they had the volume off and they were listening to the Sky commentators. And even people from the UK that were watching the live cast who wanted White to win said he lost. So, but the general consensus is that White did win the fight. Not many people outside of the live cast that I did actually think that Rivas won the fight. But I had him winning the fight. I thought he won the fight.
You know what's funny about it, though, is the live cast that you did a few weeks ago with Kid Galahad.
Yes.
And that reminded me, it reminded me a lot of this type of thing, where you guys had Rivas, you guys had Rivas winning, and a section had Rivas winning, section had White winning, section had Galahad winning, section had, you know what I'm saying? And it's just one of those fights that it's just, what you look for. What do you look for in the fight?
And I have to apologize because during the broadcast and at the end of it, I kind of it was the heat of the moment type thing. And I was like calling it a robbery or whatever. And I was discrediting some of the people in the chat because I felt as though they were trolling me, but maybe they really did have it for White, So I apologize to those people who I kind of went at a little bit at the end of that broadcast. But they just came out of nowhere, because we were all saying, "Oh, White lost his fight," and then out of nowhere, there was like 5 or 6 people just jumped on and just started saying, "Oh, White clearly won this fight. He dominated." Blah 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 blah. And then I kind of went in on them, so I apologize for that. But either way,
I don't apologize to them. Don't apologize to them. They pile on us all the time.
Yeah, that's true. That's true too. Fuck you guys.
They pile on us all the time.
Fuck you guys. No.
They're piling on me now in
no,
the
I'm
chat.
just kidding. But I don't want to. I don't want to be that guy that thinks that he's always right and everyone else is wrong. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, no. I don't think that at all, man. They're always piling on people. Don't worry about
Yeah.
it. Now here's the interesting thing. The WBC has made Deontay Wilder their franchise.
I just found this out today. This is crazy.
Right? Now, does this mean that Dillian White now becomes the WBC heavyweight champion instead of the interim?
I think
because that's what happened to Canelo and Charlo. Remember, Charlo was the interim, and now he's the heavyweight, or now he's the full-fledged.
I think we should get ready to expect an announcement this week that White will be considered the WBC champion.
Let me throw this scenario out. All right, because I think that's going to happen. Yeah. What else are you going to do? If that happens, does the Ruiz rematch with Joshua take place? Or does he fight Dillian White next? Does Joshua go and fight Dillian White next over in the UK?
I think they're gonna push. I think Eddie Hearn's gonna push hard for the Joshua rematch.
Wow. Okay.
But something's telling me something's going on behind the scenes there. Something's not right.
Gotta be. No.
You know.
And I don't care what Ruiz said last night. Ruiz said that it's the site location. You know, whether it's in the UK or the US. He wants it in the US, obviously. They want it in the UK, obviously. That's what's holding it up. I don't buy it. There's something going on.
I don't.
You sent me.
Yeah. Go ahead.
You sent me that video today of the IFL.
Yeah.
And the guy was interviewing Garrett Davies from MTK.
Yeah.
And now, granted, MTK has no affiliation with Matchroom. I mean, it's like Top Rank in the PBC or whatever. They have no affiliation there. But they're in the know. I mean, they hear things. I mean, they're promoters. Now, whether the guy was just trolling or not, I don't know. But he said that what he heard was that the rematch with Ruiz and Joshua may not happen because Joshua is having second thoughts about fighting him next. Because he's got a lot of people in his ears saying, hey, you should take a tune-up fight before you go back and fight this guy again. You shouldn't go straight back into that lion's den again. True or not, I don't know. But listen, man, for as long as it's taken to get this whole thing going, there's something there. There's something there, and I don't buy the site.
It's fucking crazy, kid.
Yeah, there's something
definitely going on here.
That's not right. This is not normal.
You know, and this is the thing that aggravates me too. Like Eddie Hearn, Joshua's the boss. Joshua's the boss. But then he turns around and says, Joshua told me, it's up to me. So if it's up to you, if Joshua's always saying that everything's up to you, which Eddie Hearn always says that Joshua says, then is Joshua really the fucking boss? If he's not making the decisions.
I'll be honest. I don't think that fight happens next.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't think that fight happens next. I think if they mandate Dillian White, which we think they're probably going to do. I mean, they've got to, listen, we got a benchmark now. They did it with Charlo. So we think they'll probably do it with White. Makes sense too, because the WBC heavyweight champion is now vacant. Just is. Franchise champion does not qualify as you're a champion. He can do whatever he wants now. There's no belt anymore. So I think that he'll fight Dillian White next. If Dillian White gets a WBC belt, this is a perfect opportunity for him to come back, win the WBC belt, and then what? It's him and Wilder. That puts him even closer to Wilder because they're both in the same organization. They're both.
So now Wilder can't even do the one face, one champ, one name anymore now because now he's just a franchise champion. So how do you unify now? How does that affect the Joshua fight?
Well, it's like you said. Remember we talked about this because like with the Canelo thing. Okay, well he's the franchise champion now. Wonderful. What's that mean? It means that if we beat Wilder, that we're the franchise champion now. No, it doesn't mean.
No, you're the diamond. You're the diamond.
You don't even get a belt. You get what?
The diamond belt. Yeah.
Yeah. With that, you can't even get a free cup of coffee with that.
No.
It means
you can buy it on fucking eBay for $200. I'm tempted. Georgie talked me out of it though.
So exactly, man. So the diamond belt is just a trinket. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean you're the champ anymore. So, Wilder's going to be a big fight guy now, so he can fight for big money and everything in big fights, and whoever he wants. But again, man, Anthony Joshua can go and become if he beats Dillian White, or if they give the belt to White, they can go and fight for that belt. And I think that's an easier task, given the fact that you already beat him, and given the fact that Dillian White doesn't really impress me much. I mean, I think that Joshua can beat him again. It's a better fight. It's a better fight for Joshua. It's a comeback fight. You get a title. I think it's a better fight all the way around.
Coach C just said 0 chance Wilder lets Dillian White hold the WBC heavyweight belt. Difference is Canelo doesn't want to fight Charlo at all.
What's not up to him?
That's about. I was just about to say that. How does he make the decision? It's the sanctioning body that makes the decision.
Did he want the title stripped from him so he becomes franchise
I mean,
champion?
I don't know. I mean, does the fighter dictate to the sanctioning body, or does the sanctioning body dictate to the fighter? How does it work?
Well, he can't say, okay, I'll take this franchise champion, but don't give it to Dillian.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
He doesn't have that authority. They're going to do what they want.
I don't think that could happen that way. It doesn't sound plausible to me.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Really doesn't.
So let's talk about another guy in this undercard, man. Derek Chisora versus Arthur Spitzer. Jesus.
Wow.
10 rounds, man. Heavyweights. Derek Chisora. This shocked me, man. I didn't expect this at all. I expected this to go some rounds. If somebody got knocked out, they got knocked out. But, man, Derek Chisora looked good. It was a brutal knockout. Had to be the knockout of the week, man. Brutal knockout of Arthur Spiltzke in the second round. He hit him with like a 4-punch combination. That left hook put him out, and then he hit him with a right hand as he's on the ropes, man. He just melted him, son. He was done. Guy was out cold. That was just sick. Crazy knockout. Chisora looked good.
Looked like he was fucking dead in there. I hate to say it.
Yeah,
I was fucking scared. This was like the Wilder knockout.
Yeah. Yeah, he got. I mean, that was. I tell you what, man. Both of those. I was going to say the Chisora knockout was, but both of them were just extreme. Yeah. But
now he's got to find something else to do. Spilka.
I think so. Yeah, I mean, he's been touched a little bit too many
shout
times.
Shout out to Robbie, but he's got to find something else to do.
That's right. Dave Allen versus David Price, 12 rounds heavyweights. David Price wins via TKO when David Allen's trainer threw in the towel before the 11th round. Sad situation as David Allen collapsed and was taken to the hospital. He had some brain scans, though, indicated he was okay. He passed all his physicals and everything like that, so he's okay. He just had to get taken out of there. It's always scary when something like that happens, but luckily he's okay. Lawrence Okoli versus Mariano Angel Guidino. 10 rounds. They were cruiserweights. Okoli wins via TKO in the 7th round. Okoli continuing his winning ways. Now, this is an interesting fight here. Shifting gears here, going to ESPN. ESPN Plus, excuse me. Teofimo Lopez versus Masayoshi Nakatani. Lopez wins by unanimous decision by the scores of 118-110 twice and 119-109. Now, this wasn't the Lopez like we're used to. You know, this was what's funny is I don't even necessarily call it a lackluster performance, but for him it was a lackluster performance because we're so used to him being so dominant, handling fights so easy, and knocking people out with ease, and just looking like a Lomachenko or like a Roy Jones, or something like that. I mean, just flashy. And that wasn't him this time. He was. But he, in all fairness, though, he has a lot of. They went over it again. He's got a lot of personal issues going on, man. They said that he just got married, and his mom and his sisters disapproved so much. They didn't even show up for the wedding.
I was shocked when you told me this.
They did, right?
This
didn't even show up for the wedding.
This threw me for a fucking loop when you told me this.
And the only one that showed up for his wedding?
Dad.
That was it. His dad showed up for it. Is it? Man, that's a big thing.
Yeah.
And his mom was his nutritionist. Now his mom's not in his camp anymore. Now he's got to hire somebody. Whatever the case.
Got to start sending him some MegaFit meals, I guess.
That's right. Get him in shape, Beeb. Give
him a call. See if he wants some MegaFits.
But that's crazy though, man. I'm like, so he had. I mean, that's one of those things where you can, and like, this guy had some legit personal issues going on. So I don't know, man. But he looked all right. But the Japanese kid, when the guy he fought, Masayoshi Nakatani, I'd never seen him fight, but I did some research on him before the fight. He's supposed to be really good, really solid. His idol, the guy he idolizes and tries to emulate, Bernard Hopkins. Always. He always comes out. He used to come out with a mask. He always did the X and everything like that. He idolizes Bernard Hopkins, tries to emulate everything about Bernard Hopkins. I say, you know what? This guy's going to be pretty good. And he was. His defense was solid. He was a solid fighter, good counter puncher.
He just didn't have the fire. He just didn't have the firepower.
No,
that was the difference.
Now listen, man, Teofimo won this fight. All right, he won the fight. But, I thought the scores were a little wide, but I guess at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. I mean, he won the fight. So that was that, On the undercard here, Maxim Dadashev versus Subriel Matias. Matias, this was a good fight. This is a good back-and-forth fight, man. Matias wins via TKO after Dadashev's trainer, Buddy McGirt, stopped the fight after the 11th round. Dadashev could not walk out of the ring and collapsed. They brought him down to the apron, and he just collapsed on the steps. They took him to the back of the casino or wherever it was, and he was taken to the hospital and apparently lost consciousness during the drive to the hospital. According to ESPN, he suffered a brain bleed and was showing severe signs of severe brain damage. He underwent surgery and is in critical but stable condition. I was watching this, and he was getting touched up, and McGirt said in the 11th round, he said, listen, I'm going to stop the fight. He said, can I stop the fight? And I think there was some back and forth. He said, look, man, I need to stop this fight. He said, I'm going to stop it, Said, if you don't stop it, I'm going to stop it. McGirt was real adamant about stopping this fight. The referee came over, and he said, that's it, we're done. And they stopped the fight, and, he looked really disappointed and everything like that, And I was saying, well, I mean, he did the right thing. Listen, man, he knows when his guy's had enough.
Yeah.
It's this guy's job to go out and fight, but it's your job to know he's had enough.
That's true.
And the fact that he couldn't make it out of the ring, the fact that he, when he walked on the stairs and just collapsed on the stairs, couldn't stand up. It's like, what? How is this guy standing?
That's horrible.
But, so they said severe brain damage, and hopefully he can make a full recovery. I mean, we've seen people make a full recovery, so hopefully he does, man. So definitely thoughts and prayers go out to him.
100%.
All right. Before we go to the upcoming fights, let's go to the phones. 706, Jason. Still working on your intro?
What's going on, guys?
What's on?
Hi, Jason.
What'd you guys? How many rounds did you guys get there?
I've got a bone to pick with you. I've got a bone to pick with you here. What is your deal? Who's on your avatar? Is that Dave Allen on your avatar for Twitter?
Yeah, why?
With the oxygen mask. What's wrong with you? Why would you do that? Why would you pick?
What do you mean? Why would I do that? What do you mean? Why would I pick that? What the fuck do you mean? What do you mean?
What do you mean? Why would you pick
that? Shit. That guy was bashing other people for quitting. Now he quit, so I think he deserved it. Why not? What's wrong with you? Why can't I put that? What are we in North Korea now?
He was taken to the hospital. What's the matter with you?
He was taken to the hospital for PR reasons. There was nothing wrong with him. Shut up, dude.
For PR reasons?
Dude, in America, we see fighters... Dude, in America, we see fighters get hurt way more and they never fucking quit. And if they do, we fucking savage the hell out of them. Like in England, these guys, like Kell Brook, he's got a fucking little bit of puffy eye and he's fucking quitting. Guys, in America, fighters keep fighting with energies like that. In England, they just fucking give up. That's my only
Brook
issue.
had a broken orbital bone.
No, you don't know that shit. You don't know that.
They said it. They came out and said
it. They can say whatever they want. They always say that shit. They always say that shit. But in America, fighters have way worse injuries and they keep fighting. That's just different. They just have a different level of grit in America. That's my only point, And that's why I like American boxing way more. That's why I didn't watch that trash. I only watched the highlights on YouTube, just like Robbie. I mean, DAZN posts like 5 and 6 minute highlights. They post the highlights of every round, so that's good for me. I can just watch the highlights. I don't need to pay for that crap. And who the hell wants to fucking watch fucking David Price who been knocked out like 6 times and Dave Allen any fucking way? I'm not interested in that. Kuka's been getting knocked out. That was like the 5th time he got knocked out, so it's not really a shock he did. I wish Wilder fights Chisora just to fucking spite White, because Chisora actually beat White. I'd love to see that fight. And Chisora's a bigger fucking star over there. They love him over there. So, I wish he fights him. That would be fucking funny. And Beeb, Eddie did an interview with IFL the other day, and the guy, Umar IFL, said, Amir got $7 million. Eddie was like, not even anywhere close to that. He's like, no, it wasn't even close to that. So he said it was probably not $7 million. You're right. That sounds like a lot.
Yeah, I don't think it was $7 million. Like that. That's a lot to fight. I mean, to fight Billy Dib, that's a lot. It's a lot of money.
Yeah. If fight anybody, but there was a lot of people there. There were a lot of people there. Huh?
Yeah, what was the thing going on? Both of you morons on Twitter last night, you were going back and forth with a guy who said that they only sold 11,000, the rest were comped. And you said they sold 14,000. He doesn't know
that. That guy just always says that shit without even. How would he know that? How would he know that?
How many tickets were sold? Neither one of you do.
Dude, I'm just talking about the number they released, 14,000 and change. That's what I'm talking about. That's what everybody talks about. Why is it like a...
Yeah, that place was
that's what I'm saying.
That place was
no, that's what I'm saying. Even Wilder versus Brazil, dude, it sold 13,000. That piece of shit Eddie went around saying, it sold 3,000. I'm like, what the fuck? That's ridiculous. That's fucked up. Like, you're kind of like you're taking money away from Wilder there. You're like putting his name down. I think that's kind of fucked up. PBC people don't do that shit about anybody else, And if you think about it, who else is putting on big events like month after month besides PBC? Like they're the only ones. Nobody's putting on big events like that. I mean, they had Spence versus Mikey. They had
PBC mantra.
They had Spence versus Mikey. They had Hurd versus Williams. They had fucking this fight. They've got fucking Spence versus Porter coming up in like 4 or 5 weeks. So they're the only ones that are doing these big pay-per-view events. You remember when Ryan Garcia went to Tank's fight? Oscar got mad and sent a cease and desist letter to fucking Leonard Ellerby. You guys remember that?
I think I remember
that happened?
I don't remember right offhand, though.
Yeah, and Ryan was there again last night with fucking Canelo's coach, and Munguia was there. Oh, yeah, there was a bunch of fucking Golden Boy people there. I heard Ryan is suing his manager, and he might be leaving Golden Boy, so, he probably wants to leave there, too. Who the hell wants to fight him?
He said he was suing his manager. I heard that interview last night that he had to drop his manager. I don't know if he's suing him, but he had to drop his manager.
He's trying to get Chavez manager Lupe Valencia, so he's tight with Heyman. That's why I'm thinking he might. Who knows? He said I want to get paid what I'm worth. So that means Golden Boy has been fucking lowballing him, paying him like $50K a fight. He's tired of that.
All
shit.
the money's tied up in Canelo.
Dude. You guys remember the Dave Allen versus Luis Ortiz fight, right? That was like a couple of years ago.
I don't remember, but I take your word for it.
Yeah, you didn't remember, right, Eric? You remember the Ortiz Allen fight?
I don't remember it.
You don't? All right, well, go box
record. But it happened. I believe it.
Go ahead. Explain your point.
Was talking about him, and Cougar mentioned that Eddie only paid Dave Allen 6,000 pounds for that fight, a main event against Luis Ortiz, and Eddie got kind of embarrassed, and he was like, "Oh well, I was with his promoter. He was a free agent, so I just called him and asked him if he wanted to fight." But he was like $6,000. I mean, 6,000 quid, and that's ridiculous, man, for a main event. And that guy almost got his fucking tongue cut off in that fight. These fucking Hearns are fucking scumbags, I'm telling you, man. All these people think just because Eddie's charming in his fucking interview, he's some good guy. That guy's a fucking, he just uses fight. And let's see how nice he is to Dave Allen now after quitting last night, Kell Brooks is pretty much falling off the face of the earth. Huh?
Yeah, I don't think Kell Brooks wants to fight. I said,
No, I'm saying Kell Brooks just falling off the face of the earth, dude. Where the hell did he go? I haven't seen him in 6 months.
You said you found him charming. I just found that interesting.
Yeah, but why can't he fight Jesse Vargas? I mean, that's a perfectly fine fight, right? I wouldn't mind seeing that. I mean, he's just sitting around doing nothing. He should be fighting him. Why the fuck is he waiting for Amir Khan? They're not going to fight. It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, maybe his heart's not in it, man. Maybe he's pulling.
Did you guys?
I don't know.
Did you guys watch the Spence and Porter presser? Did you guys catch that?
No, I didn't see it.
No? What?
No.
They should have done it last night. Dude, that fight on fucking YouTube, have you seen the numbers that video? Like, every video, like Fox, PBC Fox posted, did like 1 million views. The face-off did like 2 million views in one day. That fight was fucking trending #1 worldwide. What do you think it sold? Like, what's your guess, Beeb?
500K.
Huh? 510?
Yeah.
510? I'd say 600, just because it was so fucking hyped up. Fox did a great job. Showtime, Showtime can only do so much. That's why I think Wilder Ortiz might have some trouble selling a lot. Spence Porter, won't football be on? When is football season starting? Or has it already started?
August,
I'm not even watching
September. It starts in September, but I think college will start in August. I don't know.
Yeah, so Fox can co-promote Spence and Porter with that because they always have segments during those kind of things. That would probably help them.
Yeah, they'll definitely do that. Yeah, they did that with the UFC. They'll definitely do that.
What date is Spence versus Porter? You know, what date is it?
So it's September 20-something.
Let me see.
All right, so they should probably be starting that.
September 28th.
Also, dude, Manny told Fox there was like a live cam in his locker room after that on the PBC on Fox YouTube channel. He said this was his toughest fight since Morales won. He said Thurman is fucking heavy-handed as hell. And if you looked at Manny's nose, it was like a fucking potato. Like it was fucking like a mushroom. It was fucking
his
broken,
face was squashed. Back. Yeah, he looked like a
pug
after
his nose
the fight. His face was
and he kept
up.
And he kept trying to breathe through his mouth and like fix his nose. Like his nose was fucking broken because of those straight right hands Thurman was landing. Thurman never gets enough credit for what he does. He deserves a lot of credit. All the fucking great fighters like Nonito Donaire and Mosley, all of them were giving him so much props. They were like, he's a fucking warrior. Everybody says that. All the pro fighters. It's just fans bashing him more than the fighters. At least he didn't fucking quit like AJ. Right. Think about that shit. AJ, they call fucking AJ this fucking they call AJ this fucking Greek guy, like he's chiseled this, that. Look at Broner. Broner's a fucking chubby dude. He fucking gained like 30, 40 pounds, and he fucking went the distance. He got dropped in first round. Think about how hard that is mentally, man, to get up after one round and fucking go 11 more with Manny. Most people wouldn't even do that shit. He got hit fucking hard. Kept going. Manny, dude, when was the last time Manny looked like that? Maybe against Margarito? Manny looked fucked up against Margarito.
Yeah, Margarito, yeah. I would say Margarito, maybe.
His face was all messed
Didn't look
up.
like that against Mayweather. Neither guy was touched up.
No, it's a little bit, just nothing. But he had the shoulder excuse, fucking like a politician, But I'm F.A. Jock, but he looked like a robot, man, just like Charlo, like very like uninspiring fucking performance, like pushing his punches, not finishing them, like he like pulling his punches back. I don't know. He doesn't have that mean streak. He's like a nice guy from Africa. He's very nice. He's not a mean guy like Wilder. So he's kind of, I don't know. He needs that mean streak. He needs somebody to smack him up in the corner and tell him to get it going. Ronnie Shields fucking sucks. Fucking Charlo looked like shit. F.A. looked like kind of average to me. I think they need to both leave that guy. Ronnie Shields is fucking overrated to me. I don't know what he's fucking done. Yeah. And Luis Neri probably had a bad weight cut. He's not eating ice cream, man. He just had a half pound
weight cut.
Yeah, well, that half pound is hard, man. Come on, they just don't
Son, anyways, murking that guy if they fight.
How hard it is to be 122, dude. Yeah, I know he would knock him out because his defense isn't right. He keeps his hand down a lot, and he isn't as fast. His head movement isn't there, so he's getting knocked out. You better stay away from him. Who else is he going to fight now? Who else does PBC have for him next? Do you know?
I don't know. We'll
Who else is in the division now? Yeah, there aren't that many guys.
No, division's stacked.
What do you guys think about? We got Benavidez versus Jarrell is on Spence versus Porter's undercard too. That would be a decent fight, I guess.
Oh, that's awesome.
Jarrell can give him some rounds.
Yeah, that's
fucking great, man. That's a great fight.
I think Plan is going to fucking expose Benavidez a bit when they fight. I think so.
No, I like
Plan's not scared one bit.
I like Benavidez.
Yeah, I like him too, but Plan's going to expose him, Beeb. The way he fucking, the way he jabs to the body, the way he fucking, Plan is really smart, man. Benavidez has never been in the ring with a fucking guy like Plan, never. Plan has probably been with some big guys like Benavidez. He's just a fucking come forward brawler, Plan is a different kind of guy. Benavidez has never dealt with something like that. So he's going to have to, he's got a lot of power, but, All right, guys.
Yep.
Peace.
Right,
thanks, Jason.
Well, we got to get him a new theme. Yeah, we got to get him a new theme.
Yeah.
From this day, you'll be my new fool.
Georgie.
Hey, yo, what's happening, people?
Hi,
Keep the energy down.
Hi, Georgie.
What's going on, babe?
How you doing, brother?
Congrats, buddy. Congrats.
Thank you.
Boston did it again.
That's right.
Take that, Eric. Once again. Listen, brother. Man, that shit was close. I gotta start with that.
It was very close.
Like, they cannot be talking about no robbery or anything like that. That could have waited. For me, what he did was a knockdown. And he was talking about that. What was it? What wrong was it that he got hit on the body that he take out his mouthpiece?
10th.
Yeah, he said that influenced the judges too, because that's another thing, man. Because there's no really a criteria to like say what type of punch equal how many jabs. Like that body shot there, when you see the replay, that's all you really remember about the round. And if the judges happen to see in that moment, it captured that on their brain, that's a wrap. Doesn't matter what the fuck it did. You know what I'm saying? So that it was there. It was that close. So, hey, Manny got it. I think he probably was juiced up, but doesn't even mean shit. At the end of the day, I think PBC is showing weakness. Because, like, all these people, they sort of getting exposed in a way. I don't think what they are, I mean, if Crawford ended up fighting Spence, I got Crawford. If that ever happened.
Yeah, it's a pick and fight.
Because the skill level, it seems like when it comes to skill levels, these people aren't know what they are. That's what Uga started me. I mean, when Brooke fought Porter, and Porter have these close fights, you know? He have this close fight with Danny and Keith and whatnot, and that's supposed to be like the four horsemen right there, right? I mean, gonna be like 5 now with fucking Pacquiao beating Keith. It's gonna be interesting the next year or so, see what happens, because some of these fights, they got no other options to, you know, be me. Keep talking about AB, but I don't want to see that shit. You want to see him fight AB?
Nah.
Who?
Thurman?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's a good fight for him. It's a good fight for him. I mean, who do you put Thurman in against?
Fight, right?
Yeah, who do you put him in against? If not AB, who do you put him in against? There's nobody interesting. What do you want to have him rematch Garcia? You know who I'd put him? You know what? Mikey Garcia. How about that one? Mikey Garcia versus Keith Thurman. Make that happen.
I don't know. I don't see that being even. That could be another fucking expensive sort of performance. Cause Mikey's really small. It's not the same. Not the same. He don't got that fucking. He don't got that step that fucking Manny got. Mikey, no, hell no. The angle that Manny was throwing yesterday, that shit looked like the fucking Matrix. It was insane that he was throwing shit from angles that I sort of like. He threw like a looping fucking left hand that I never seen even before. I forgot what round was, but I'm like, oh shit, this dude threw that from there. And he got it with that old combo from the body, that knockdown. That's his old trade. Straight to the body, boom, right hook. Got him. That's what's like spectacular. When I saw Keith bang his head in the campus, I thought for a second that he wouldn't get up or would be real hurt, but he got, you know, he wake up and I mean, Kid did great. He didn't look no fucking luster whatsoever. I would like to see him, but not against AB. I know he got to make like a comeback fight. I don't know, man. Josecito got a backup because he's Mexican, so you know, Mexican run this shit over here, so he should fight Josecito next. Yeah. That would make sense. They will bring people in a rematch, money-wise. And, you know, it's a comeback fight. That I won't be mad about. You know, until something comes in the horizon. Because Porter, he's going to catch that L. That's a given. And the Crawford side, on that fucking Bob Arum cherry diet, that looks far away, too. So I don't know, it's really interesting. I was really excited yesterday. It was beautiful. Jason, my brother, let me congratulate you because I tried to poke you in the shot and you didn't fire back. You're growing up. Second, I'm going to have to agree with you Because the UK performance and shit, and I wasn't too much interesting about that, but Manny definitely saved the fucking day. That was amazing. Really fucking looking forward to see who he's going to fight next. I don't know. How many fights you guys think he's going to have next? Like another 4 or 5? He seems good. Manny.
Manny? No, I think he's got 2.
Maybe 3 tops.
Maybe,
you guys crazy. Listen, Manny going to be fighting until he's 50 years old. 50 years old, jumping like a rabbit, you guys going to say that he ain't juicing. Listen, bro, Manny juicing.
No, I'm not saying he's not juicing. But there's been no real proof of him juicing. He's never failed a drug test. He's not like overgrown big or anything like that. So, you talk about PEDs or HGH. I don't know. There's been no real solid proof, man.
That nigga got egg group. Beeb, let him know.
Come on. I don't know.
Right, Beeb?
I got you, Georgie.
I mean, did you guys measure his skull? I mean,
hey, that's one in the archives. That being his boxing history for the longest, brother. You better Google that. Listen, I gotta get out. Shout out to the UK. Start putting better competition out there so Jason don't talk shit. Shout out to Mexico, supporting fucking the sport, keeping it alive here in the USA. Shout out to the fucking world. Beantown and you. Beef! Yo, Beef. You
yes, sir.
That's the first fucking contender, man. We have a little tournament against Eric. I challenge Eric in a couple of weeks. See who the fuck is fighting.
That's why we have a round robin now.
We gotta put some competition. I know that's your spot, and you deserve your shine, Beeps. And Neil, congrats. But we're coming for you.
I'm a.
It will be cold out there.
I'm a marked man right now.
Yeah.
You're a marked man. We shooting for glory, baby, and you have it on the palm of your hands. Congratulations, my brother. Beantown. I'm outie.
Stand up. Stand up, Beantown.
Stand up. That's right. Stand up. You know what? I am a little disappointed, though. I am a little disappointed, man. When it comes to like these bets, you, me, and Georgie are the only ones who bet. Nobody sacks up. Nobody says, "Hey, I'll go ahead and take a pot." Nobody. I don't understand that. I mean, nobody bets. I don't get.
That's because we're elite, Eric.
That's the difference.
We're elite. They're not.
Other people are good. Big difference. Big difference.
They're elite. We're elite.
Minneapolis, 612. You're live.
Good evening, everybody. Hey, I was just listening in.
Hey, what's up, man?
Oh, he just wants to listen in, he said.
Oh, yeah, I was just listening in.
Oh, he's just listening in.
Oh, no problem.
Oh, okay.
Got you.
All right, just listening.
That's fine.
All right. Let's go ahead to the upcoming fights, and we'll come back to the calls here. All right, so let's see what we got here. July 26th, Mexico City on Telemundo. Mauricio Pintor versus Edson Ramirez, 10 rounds welterweights. Also on July 26th, Ontario, California on ThompsonBoxing.com. Ruben Torres versus Ruben Tamayo, 8 rounds lightweights. And Anthony Sanchez versus James Early, 6 rounds lightweights. Let's see what else we got here. July 27th from Baltimore, Coach C's hometown. On Showtime, Gervonta Davis versus Ricardo Nunez, 12 rounds for Davis's WBA junior lightweight title. On the undercard, Yuriorkis Gamboa versus Rocky Martinez, 10 rounds lightweights. That's going to be an interesting fight, man. But I think that Rocky Martinez, to me, but both guys have kind of
slid,
seen better days.
Yeah, they both slid.
Yeah. Jezreel Corrales versus Ladarius Miller, 10 rounds lightweights. This is a good card,
That's a good one.
Yeah. Let's see what else we got here. July 27th, Arlington, Texas, on DAZN. Maurice Hooker versus Jose Ramirez. 12 rounds for the WBO and WBC junior welterweight unification. That's going to be awesome. That's a good fight. On that undercard, Tevin Farmer versus Guillermo Frenoy, maybe? 12 rounds for Farmer's IBF junior lightweight title. Should be another good one. Let's see what else we got. That's pretty much it. It's kind of barren. July 28th, Hollywood, California, 360promotions.us. It's going to be on that channel. Just go to the website. Serhii Bobachuk. That's, what's his name? Tom Loeffler's promotion. He always puts him on the net. Serhii Bohachuk versus Fernando Marin, 10 rounds junior middleweights, and Mario Ramos versus Jose Morales, 6 rounds lightweights. That Showtime card is a good card. The DAZN card's a good card, too. Both of those cards are really good, man.
Big second half of the year here in boxing right now.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see here. 1 second here. He's fighting, but Gervonta's fighting Ricardo Nunez. And, I mean, I like their undercards and everything, but Gervonta should run that.
Yeah, it's not a competitive fight.
It's kind of a squash match, right?
It really is.
I'm kind of disappointed. I thought that he would fight a better. Now, the rumor is, I think Jason sent me the tweet or something like that, where Leo Santa Cruz says he wants a September 16th date. And if Gervonta Davis wins, he wants Gervonta Davis. It's kind of a long shot. I don't know that fight will happen. But, man, we'll see. We'll see. It'll be interesting. That's an interesting fight. I don't hold out much hope that it happens, but it would be nice. All right. Let's go back to the phones here. Baltimore. I think this is Coach C. 443, you're live.
Yo, what's going on? Am I on?
Yeah, you're on.
Wow, Coach, go easy on him.
What's going on, fellas?
Go easy on him, Coach. He's not ready. It's been a long time.
Coach had Thurman last night.
All right, Coach.
We're chilling, man. Hey, I thought Thurman was going to win. But I didn't know he was going to be eating ice cream and slobbing on his wife before the fight neither. So, this is why I don't bet money on these fights, man, because these cats, man, you don't know where the hell their head's at, dude. Like,
what were your thoughts when you heard that? Because me and Beeb just like, we heard that news, and I was like, what? He did what?
I was watching it. I saw it on TV. I was telling my wife, I'm like, yo, baby, he's eating ice cream. And I was like, yeah, he's and it's like they flashed to Thurman. He's in the locker room. He's sitting there eating ice cream. Then they flash to Manny. He's just flying on the pads, just letting his hands rip and run. I'm like, yeah, this is not going to be fun. Nah, man, I mean, it was a close fight, but I Pacquiao got the W. I mean, in that case, honestly, you're 10 years younger than the guy. If it's even close, you lost, dude. And like B, you said earlier, he was going to hold the belt hostage. I'm tired of Keith Thurman. I'm just tired of him. Just tired of his act and his whole, oh, you got to come to me, and I'm not impressed with Crawford, and blah, blah, blah. It's just like, dude, go away. And Pacquiao did us all a favor. Got him out of there. I think he's done. You can't, I mean, you got to have that competitive spirit, and it's got to be in your system, to play a sport and to completely sacrifice. I mean, he's in there slobbing on his wife in the locker room, eating ice cream, playing flutes and shit. Like he's not there. He's a Buddhist Hindu guy now. It's like he's not a savage. Like these guys are like Crawford, Spence. These guys are savages. These are killers. He's not that anymore. So that's fine. He had a good run. He was the man for a while at 147, but his time has obviously passed. And I mean, what he needs to do is fight again. And as soon as he's healthy, get back in the ring and work on his game. But we all know he's going to take the rest of 2019 off. So it's a wrap. He's done. And I'm actually good with that. So I tell you, I am too. I wanted to ask you about the Rivas White fight. Because, I mean, honestly, it's really inconsequential because they're really just fighting to see who's going to get knocked out in the first round fall next year anyway. But I thought that judging and that refereeing in that fight, I mean, when he stops the action to fix his trunks and then Rivas hits him in the belt line, he stops the action again. It's just stuff like this. Like, this is why nobody wants to fight over there, man. It's like, this is insane, I thought Rivas pressed to action for the most of the fight. And I thought he got up on him pretty good. And then he had the knockdown, and with the 9th round, I thought Rivas did enough to win it. But, you're in England, whatever. But, either way, so White's the mandatory. He's going to get destroyed next fall by Wilder at some point. Like, what? He can't beat Fury or Ortiz. Now we know why he's ducky. He didn't want to fight Luis Ortiz. Like, he can't fight those top guys. AJ will knock him out again. Ruiz will beat him up again. The only reason he beat Parker is because he headbutted him in the 2nd round and gave him a concussion. He's a tough guy. He comes to fight, but he's not very good. And talent plays a role in your success, man, and he just doesn't have the physical attributes or the talent at the sport of boxing to compete with those top guys. Wilder beats him in 2 minutes. I think Brazil can beat Dillian White now. Dillian White's
I don't think Wilder's going to fight him, honestly. I don't think Wilder and Dillian White happens.
It can happen, but it's got to be after, look, AJ, if he's smart, does not fight Ruiz again. But let's say he gets pushed into it and goes ahead to fight Ruiz. And then Wilder rematches with Ortiz. And let's just say they both win those fights. Undisputed Cinco de Mayo is going to happen. That's the biggest fight in boxing. That's the best fight for the division. And there's nothing that Dillian White or Eddie Hearn are going to be able to say or do about it. They can cry all they want. They're going to be outside. They're on the outside looking in. That's what's going to happen. Then after that, the Fury rematch for the winner of the fight. I'm thinking it'll be Wilder, but it could be Ruiz. You never know. Then Fury gets the winner of that fight, and then Dillian White can fight. It's neither the biggest fight, and it's not anything that's really going to help the sport of boxing out. So Dillian White wanting to be the mandatory really doesn't mean anything at all. It's great to say that you're number one and you're the mandatory, but we've seen what happened in the last 2 mandatories. Wilder's had to fight. He's knocked them out in the first round because they suck. They're not top level guys. Thurman in Brazil. So same thing's going to happen to Dillian White when he gets in the ring. So there's absolutely no rush to do that. And if you're Wilder, why would you want to train for 8 weeks to just go out there and knock some guy out in 3 minutes? No. I'd rather fight Ortiz on pay-per-view or fight Ruiz for Undisputed or Fury on pay-per-view. If I'm going to, go, because let's assume he's not like Keith Thurman slobbing on his wife and eating ice cream during training camp and gambling all night. He's actually sacrificing for the sport. You're going to sacrifice to be away from your family and kids and, to go fight this bum White, at the end of the fight, he looked kind of scared because he knows, eventually, there's a dragon at the end of the road you have to fight, man, and he's gonna knock you across the ring when you get in the ring with him. So, but I'll give the zone credit though. It was a good card, man. I didn't know Spilka was even fighting still. I don't know what doctor passed him to get into the ring and fight, but again, we're in England, I guess. I don't know. But, what does Chisora beating Spilka even mean? They're both very damaged goods. So,
Vicious, that was a vicious KO, man.
I thought Spilka was retired. Chisora would knock me out viciously. I'm not a boxer. You know what I mean? Spilka doesn't belong in a boxing ring. I don't belong in a boxing ring. More so him because at least, I haven't been injured. Spilka got carted off to the hospital against Wilder. What was that, 3 years ago? Yeah, there's no way you're the same after that. He's done. It's the only thing he knows how to do, so whatever. But I was impressed with Sergey Lipinets. I was really impressed with Yordenis Ugas, but when they said the fight was at 147 with Figueroa, it was I didn't even know that Figueroa fought at welterweight, but he can't ever make weight, so I don't know. It's just one of those things, I guess. And Teofimo Lopez, I didn't know he had all that family stuff going on. So now you can kind of figure, all right, that kind of explains why he had a difficult fight with the guy he fought. But overall, man, it was a good night of boxing, man. And I had the UFC fight on my laptop, man. I was chilling, man. There was a lot of people getting beat up last night. It was great. Super excited about the fight. Yeah, it was great, man. I'm super excited about Porter Spence getting made. But I'm telling you guys, watch out, man. AJ is not fight. AJ needs to get a new get some new heads in his camp. He needs to drop the entourage and retool. You know what I mean? And if he's really gonna because he's not gonna beat Ruiz if they rematch immediately. He'll get beat again. You know, so the best thing for his career overall would be to kind of take a step back and rehash and get himself right, and go ahead and let Ruiz and Wilder go ahead and get for undisputed. I mean, you'll get another chance. Like, that's the thing about it, man. Like, you just got to get yourself back in a position, but you get another chance if you lose. Like Thurman, if his head was in the game, he'd get another shot, but you know, there's nothing that shows he really wants to do this, man. Like, you got to want to do this shit. Like, you can't just rely on muscle memory and go to training camp and then you're going to get into the ring with a veteran killer like Pacquiao. I mean, this Manny Pacquiao went up to 154 and beat Cotto, man. Like, this is a killer, you know, and you're just going to jump in the ring, eat ice cream, slobbing your wife down in the locker room. Like, your head's not in this shit, man. You're going to go out there and get hurt, bro. So he probably needs to fade to black. But overall, man, it was a great night of boxing. A great day of boxing, actually. You know, you think about it, because it was like as soon as the zone card ended with White, it was like 30 minutes, and then all of a sudden you had the Caleb Plant card starting up. So with F.A. Jogma and all them. So it's a great day of fights. Great day for boxing, and we'll just have to see what happens, man. But shout to Pacquiao, man. I mean, I didn't think he was going to do it, but I was 100% wrong, man. He came out there focused, got with Freddie Roach again, and he's a WBA champ, you know what I mean? So he's in the mix with Spence and Porter and Crawford now, and we'll just see how this folds out, man. You know, unfolds. It should be exciting, man. What do you guys think?
Gotta appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Like, you know, I mean, he might have been jacked up on some good stuff. Now, let's be clear, man. You know, Manny might have been jacked up on some good tests, man. He might have been. But you know what? He didn't fail any drug tests, so we just have to roll with that. You know,
until he fails,
I'm just really
pulls a Canelo. You know, he can't.
Yeah.
Guilty.
And also, hold on. And speaking of Canelo, I'm glad you brought that up, Eric, real quick, man. It reminded me of something. So Deontay Wilder, he got named the franchise champion. I looked online. I didn't see anything saying that. You know what I mean? I don't see Wilder letting Dillian White have the WBC belt. Like, Canelo does not want to fight Jamal Charlo, bro. Like, he's ducking that fight like Mickey's in his ear with Clubber Lang, bro. Like, he does not want those problems. I mean, he could get that fight. He doesn't want to fight Demetrius Andrade either. So you can't sit there with all those middleweight belts and not fight anybody. So that's his escape route, the franchise championship. But Wilder's not scared of anybody. You know what I mean? Like, Wilder's not unwilling to fight Dillian White because he's scared to fight him. He's unwilling to fight him because it's not a lot of money and it's a waste of time.
90 seconds.
That's the reason. That's Canelo's reason too, for not wanting to fight Charlo.
I don't think so. I mean, Canelo versus. Why is there more money? Hold on a second. So, first of all, he's getting paid regardless. He's on the zone. He's not pay-per-view, so he's going to get paid either way. And the other thing is, I mean, it's not like Golovkin's some big pay-per-view star. Golovkin's pay-per-views were pretty terrible.
So you think that Golovkin
60 seconds.
You think that Charlo is a bigger fight for Canelo than Golovkin is?
I mean, at the time, I mean, actually, a Canelo Charlo fight, you know, I mean, we got to see it get promoted first, you know, and get announced. But I mean Canelo
like
versus Triple G.
You and I can look at it and say, yeah, I'd like to see Canelo fight Charlo. I think that's a good fight. I think I would like to see it. I would like to see that fight more than I would like to see the Triple G fight again. But
Definitely.
That being said, public-wise, you know, as far as the people go, most people want to see him fight Triple G next.
For the third time?
Yeah.
I just,
I'm not a big fan of it. I'm not a big fan of it.
Yeah, I'm of the mind. I mean, I'm of the mind Canelo won both of them. You know, that's
10
me.
seconds.
I mean, the first one was closer. The second one, he definitely won. I could live with a draw in the first one. I can see how you could have gave it to Triple G, but you know, it was one of those things where it was really tight, and you know, tight with Canelo was a loss. That's just what it is. But
yeah,
I don't know, man. Like, you know, I mean, you got to think about what you have when you have it, man. Like, you talk about you want to be a franchise champ. Like, that's good to talk about right now. But Canelo technically gave up Marvin Haggle's WBC middleweight championship belt. You know what I mean? Like, that's, you know what I mean? Like, Deontay Wilder holds the WBC heavyweight championship belt. That's Muhammad Ali's belt. That's the only belt that Ali was.
No, he doesn't. He gave that up. He's now the franchise champion. He doesn't.
I didn't hear nothing about him until I see him talking about he the franchise champ. I ain't buying that. I ain't seen no art. Where'd you see that, Eric?
WBC posted.
Where?
What do you think? We're lying about this? What do you think? What do you think? We're not credible?
I don't. I'm sorry, man. Bro,
what do you
Eric,
think? We're not credible? Why
Eric,
let me ask you a question. Like, when you watch CBS News at night and they tell you something you didn't know, do you say, hey, wait a minute, I don't know that that's the case because I didn't see it.
Coach, trust me, we would love to be able to lie about this, but we can't.
Yo. He must be hold on, let me tell you, man. He must be the franchise champ and the WBC champ, bro. Dillian White getting the WBC belt and Dillian White getting the WBC belt but not even fighting for it. That is complete foolishness, bro.
Charlo got the WBC title without fighting for it.
But at least Charlo is a good boxer. Dillian White is a fucking hack. He is terrible. He is like the ninth best heavyweight. Like, that is ridiculous, bro. Like, that is absolutely insane. Did you watch that fucking fight? Rivas can't. Hold on. Y'all know that Rivas can't see for real, right? Like, you understand, like, the reason why he has so few fights with his amateur pedigree is because he has trouble passing medical exams with his vision, and he's had, like, both his retinas detached. Like, the eye juices is dripping everywhere. And, like, you're getting knocked down by this guy. And, like, I love these fights where you miraculously win the fight somehow, despite getting outlanded and getting knocked down, but somehow you still win. I still don't understand how that happens in these boxing matches, but whatever. But the fact that chulub is going to be the WBC champ is almost a reason for me not to watch a lot of boxing with football season starting up. Like, if that's the case, that is a complete joke. That is all about money, and that is foolishness, man. And, like, as boxing fans, at some point, we're going to have to step up and band together and get rid of all these differences that we have between blacks and Mexicans and Caucasians and just call it 100% and stop being taken advantage of by these people. Because this whole franchise champion and this whole protection program with Canelo is just, it's BS. It's uncompetitive. And we're supposed to want to see people compete. We're not supposed to want our guy to win. I know it's tribal and whatever and all that kind of stuff, but that's ridiculous, bro. Like, that doesn't make any sense. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to go eat some dinner. That ruined my night. That's unbelievable. Dillian White, like, if he gets named, because at least Charlo, like, he was a credible WBC interim champ. You know what I'm saying? Like, he could legitimately beat Boo Andrade, Triple G. Dillian White can't beat any of the top guys at heavyweight. And to just give him a belt just to basically shut him and Eddie Hearn up, that's a bunch of bullshit. That's just BS. That's just bad for the sport in general. I mean, Canelo, he wants to fight in a whole bunch of different weight classes and not have to necessarily fight Charlo. That kind of makes a little bit of sense, but at heavyweight, it shouldn't be a franchise belt. Like, the WBC belt is the franchise belt. If you're the WBC heavyweight champ, you're the heavyweight champ in a lot of people's minds, man, or at least used to be. If they're going to sell out, they're going to sell out. But it's just, that's a joke. Thanks for taking my call, fellas. I'm out of here. That really ruined my night, man. Y'all have a good one. Appreciate y'all, man.
All right, Coach.
All right, man.
Coach doesn't sound too happy.
No, he doesn't, does he? All right, 718, New York. You're live.
Okay, how you doing, guys?
Suleiman.
I want to start this with the fight with Pacquiao, Keith Thurman. I think not for nothing, but if anybody deserves a rematch, it should be Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman did very good in that fight. I don't know why people are talking about his marriage and stuff. What he does in his dressing room with his wife, that's nobody's business. He came in picture perfect condition. He lost his belt only by decision. Okay, by split decision. like when he won the belt before, defended titles against Danny Garcia and Sean Porter. He won by split decision. This fight, he fought his heart out, man. He got dropped because the guy has a sneaky right hook from a southpaw stance, so he got dropped. And I think he adjusted pretty nicely. The thing is that Pacquiao has a skill asset. What basically this fight was, right? It was modern boxing against old school boxing. Pacquiao represents old school boxing in the sense of the training methods. Okay, Pacquiao does the double and bag for hours and hours and hours. Okay, other guys like Keith Thurman, they probably use a lot of mitts. So this is what creates. This is what makes Pacquiao such a pinpoint puncher, because he uses double end bag so much. So he has concussive combination punching. All those angles come from the double end bag. So he did pretty good against a premier fighter. These are two premier fighters. I don't think he should be any Tuna fight. He's still a premier fighter, even though he lost by split decision. He should be given the opportunity to fight a guy like a Terence Crawford, who never fought any caliber of a fighter like a Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman to me is still one of the best, probably the second best welterweight in the division besides Manny Pacquiao, because he lost to Pacquiao. Pacquiao should be elevated to like the best of the division by this win, because he beat the top fighter. Edward Spence has a couple of wins, but what's his best win, Edward Spence? Kell Brook, a damaged Kell Brook, or a small Mikey Garcia. So these two wins are disputable, and they're not in no way, in no comparison to the wins that Pacquiao and Keith Thurman have. So he should not be even considered as the best fighter in the welterweight division till he fights somebody of a high caliber like that. I don't even think he could beat Sean Porter, to tell the truth. So this fight here, I got nothing but praise for both fighters. One, he's a general in Philippine military. Manny Pacquiao, he was elevated from corporal from colonel to general. He's a senator, and his accomplishments was great. It looks like he spent a lot of time in the training for this fight. He developed all kinds of strategies. This was not only a physical fight, it was also a thinking fight, because these two guys are brain surgeons when it comes to their boxing technique. To do what he did against Thurman, you gotta be an intelligent type of fighter, okay? And he showed that in the ring, and he deserves to win. But I think he should be a gentleman and offer Keith Thurman a rematch, and give Keith Thurman an opportunity to get that belt back in a spectacular fashion. And also another thing, I don't like the way guys are talking about Dillian Whyte. I think Dillian Whyte is a very accomplished fighter. I think Dillian Whyte has been dogged by many champions. I think Dillian Whyte has deserves all the accolades from the WBC. I think Dillian Whyte is a very credible, very good fighter. The fight, he was going to get a title fight with AJ, but the money that was offered wasn't good. And if that fight would have took place, you never know. Dillian Whyte might have did the upset and would be the unified champion right now this time. So we shouldn't be putting him down. I think Dillian Whyte, to me, is I call him the UK Ali. I like the way he's still fighting, because he has everything, or he has to do to become a good champion. He should be given an opportunity. The same way Deontay Wilder gave Dominic Brazil the opportunity to fight for the championship of the world. Give him the opportunity and let him fight for that belt and stop calling himself a franchise fighter. I hope he doesn't take that to that level. The reason that's happening is because the WBA is doing it, and also because these guys don't want to fight. They want to be divas. Saul Canelo Alvarez is a diva. He don't want to fight. He wants to fight big money fights and easy opponents. He doesn't want to fight the best middleweights in the division, like a Charlo. He don't want to fight guys like a Erickson Rubin that's fighting in that division now. He don't want to fight anybody that could upset him. And that's what basically it is. He got lucky 2 times with Triple G, and he wants to keep running that. So you guys, I know you're getting late in the show, and thank you for giving me the opportunity. And that was a fantastic fight. Both fighters, I like them a lot. Manny Pacquiao and also Keith Thurman. And I want to see Keith Thurman move to bigger and better things. I think this is a learning fight for him. He shouldn't take it like all this negative criticism I've been hearing from people. He fought his heart out. He lost only by split decision, man. And I hear people also on the sidelines talking about Danny. Danny only lost by split decision. Danny, to me, is still a top-tier welterweight fighter. So don't be surprised. Any of these welterweights that lost by split decision, like a Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman, my springboard back to a championship belt again, because you got these guys, you talk about belt on hostage. The one that got a belt on hostage is Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford ain't doing nothing with a WBO belt. He should be able to fight these guys. Why is he not offering fights to Manny Pacquiao? Why is he not offering fights to other guys? So the one that got that belt on hostage to me is Terrence Crawford. I think Terrence Crawford is going to be exposed very soon. As soon as he steps up the level to fight to a better fighter. And you guys have a great day.
All right, man. Thank you so much. Suleiman. Beeb.
Yes, sir.
Might have been rused, son. We might have been rused. All right. So I just showed the WBC account that we got this from last night. It was texted out to me. We might have ruined Coach's night for no real good reason. All right. That was from a fake account. It was not the WBC regular account. So that was not the WBC boxing account. Has all the familiar symptoms of it. Again, this is like the other one where they put it out, the whatchamacallit, and it looks exactly like the account. Remember the Steve Kim account?
Yeah.
It looked exactly like it. Everything matched, but there was something amiss about it. So I did look it up. It does look like that is a fake account. Now, what I did read, though, is that the franchise champions were set to be Deontay Wilder, Canelo Alvarez, Vasyl Lomachenko, and there was an Errol Spence, maybe Errol Spence.
He doesn't have a WBC title.
Not Errol Spence. There was another one. It wasn't Errol. Then if it wasn't him, then it wasn't. But they all have to win their next fights.
Sean Porter.
Maybe it might have been. I might have been way off base with that. But Lomachenko. The names I remember, there was a fourth name in there. But it was Lomachenko, Wilder, and Canelo. Those are the ones I read. Okay, so it may not have happened last night, but those are on the table for it to happen. So do apologize for that. If it is wrong, I do apologize for it. So there you go. Hate that. I hate that. Ugh.
It's hard to tell, though.
How do they, it's just like those, the things that come in your email, and they tell you, hey, your account's been hacked, blah, blah, blah. And I always tell you never click on those. You should never click on those, And it's like with Twitter in this like age now where they just put things out and they look exactly like it.
Because people don't protect us on the net, man. They just let anything happen.
Yeah. Yeah. And all those guys for like free speech on the net and everything like that. This is what happens.
Bullshit.
This is what happens. That's exactly what happens. So there you go. So it may not be true. I don't know. Thank you, Jerome King. He says, thank you for the podcast, but do you think Manny fights the winner of Spence Porter early next year? I think Pac fights Crawford next year. I don't think Pac fights Crawford because they're on two different sides of the street. So I don't think that fight happens. I hope he doesn't fight the winner of Spence Porter because I think it's going to be Spence, and I don't want to see Spence fight.
Yeah, I don't want to see it.
I don't want to see it. That's not. That fight's going to be a wash.
It's going to be. He's going to get hurt.
Yeah. What's the line that Steve Kim always uses? He said, fighters when they retire, they don't get a gold watch. They hand out beatings.
Yeah.
And he's right. And he's going to get hurt in that fight. That fight's not competitive. All right. In the news and rumors today. All right. Pernell Whitaker passed away this week in a car accident. Pernell Whitaker was actually hit by a car in Norfolk, Virginia this week. He passed away shortly thereafter. There were no arrests. The person that hit him stayed and gave a police report. It was just an accident. It wasn't any malice. It just happened, Whitaker had a great career, but he also had a lot of drug issues after his career. He was involved in a well-known incident of going to court to evict his mother from a house he bought for her. None of that changes the fact that he was one of the best boxers in history. He was a great fighter, man. Just a great, great fighter. Could have been one of the best ever. He's definitely in that conversation. Definitely in the conversation. Beeb, what say you?
Pernell Whitaker is my second favorite fighter of all time behind Sugar Ray Leonard, so you know how I hold him in high regard. Pernell Whitaker fought in an era where the best did fight the best, and Pernell Whitaker certainly was, the epitome of that. He had a lot of tough fights. He fought Felix Trinidad, Oscar De La Hoya, Julio Cesar Chavez, Jose Luis Ramirez, Roger Mayweather, and the list goes on and on. So, he's also become a champion in multiple weight divisions. But when you look at Pernell Whitaker, no one really has ever emulated his style. There's a lot of copycats of the shoulder roll, but no one can really just stand in front of you and keep their feet planted and just move from the waist up. The closest thing to that is James Toney, but it's not the same as when Pernell Whitaker does it. Pernell,
not the same.
No, Pernell Whitaker can just basically do matrix moves 6 inches away from you while his feet are planted firmly on the canvas. So the guy's special. He's one of a kind, and I don't think we'll ever see anyone like him again. So I just want to wish his family my deepest sympathies and condolences, and I'm just I'm just sad. I mean, I think I'm totally disappointed to hear the news, and it just seems so unfortunate that someone would have to die so young in such a crazy way. You would think the streets would be safe.
And he had a rough go of it after his career.
Yeah.
Again, his son, he lost his son. He lost one of his sons, I believe. He's just had a rough go of it, man. And for somebody who was so successful in the ring, man, sometimes it's harder life outside.
Yeah, he's an alcoholic. He's an alcoholic. He was an alcoholic too. Yeah, he had a lot of demons.
Yeah, he sure did, man. That's just unfortunate. Yeah. Unfortunate. So with that news, we had mentioned that we don't have a train wreck of the week. We have a donkey of the day. And if you guys listen to Charlemagne the God, you'll know that he does the donkey of the day on his radio show. Well, Charlemagne the God said that Pernell Whitaker, I guess he was trying to be funny, he said that Pernell Whitaker avoiding all the punches in his boxing career but couldn't avoid a car. That's not the thing.
Tasteless.
And I understand where he was going. I understand that he thought it could be funny. I thought, I get it. I mean, I get the humor in the sense that I understand that I know where he was trying to go. It's just something that you shouldn't be saying. I mean, to make fun of somebody that's passed away, and especially a guy that, a legend like that, that's not
funny.
Definitely not something you do. Not funny at all. Yeah, I didn't think it was funny at all. So there you go. Canelo, the big news this week was Canelo backed out of his September fight. It was announced by Golden Boy this week that Canelo Alvarez will not be fighting on September 16th. They are looking for an opponent. This is interesting. We're hearing a lot of rumors, from Mike Coppinger and Lance Pugmire, I think was on their radio show. And they were talking about Canelo and Oscar De La Hoya having some kind of falling out. And they're not, they're kind of at odds over this DAZN deal. I think Canelo thinks he should have made more money on the DAZN deal, or I don't know. $350 million is a lot of money, man. I don't.
365.
Yeah, 365. You're right, exactly. It's a lot of money. So I don't know, man. That's insane. It's insane to me that they're arguing about money, but and I don't know if they are or not. That's just what we're hearing. So who knows what the deal is? And but for him not to find a September opponent, that's a tough one, man. I don't know. That's his date. That's to be his date.
Yeah.
So not good, man. Not good. Beeb, any thoughts?
Well, it just doesn't seem like this whole deal with Canelo and DAZN's going according to plan. It doesn't look like DAZN's getting what they want. They wanted the Golovkin 3 fight. They're not going to get that. And maybe they should have done a little bit better in their due diligence when sitting down with Canelo and Golden Boy to see, what the actual plan was. Now, did they tell Golovkin, or not even tell him, but did they make it known to Canelo that they wanted a Golovkin fight before they finalized this deal? Was that part of the deal? I mean, was that even talked about during this whole the negotiations for putting this deal together? So that's the thing. Like, did the DAZN drop the ball here because they weren't clear on what they wanted from Canelo? Or, did they give Canelo this deal and allow him to basically do whatever he wanted, even though they're paying him big money, and without putting forth some, prerequisites or some basically some standards to this deal, some conditions to this deal. Because if you're just going to tell the guy, we're going to give you this and you can fight whoever you want, then of course he's not going to fight good guys. So I think all these things should have been ironed out before they actually put this deal together for him. And if they didn't do that, then it's their fault. Because this should not be allowed to go on the way it's going on right now.
Right. Yeah, for sure. I agree. That September 16th date, that's a big one. That's a money date. That's a money date. So for them to let this go.
So what's he gonna fight now in December? Like what's gonna happen?
And there was speculation that he's waiting for the Kovalev yard to kind of exhaust itself and that fight to happen. There's no guarantee about that fight. What if Kovalev gets an injury or gets hurt in that fight or gets,
If it's a war.
There's tons of stuff that can happen.
If it's a war and he gets busted up and he needs to take like 6 months off, 8 months off.
Right. Not good, man. Not good for De La Hoya and Golden Boy, and definitely not good for DAZN. Eddie Hearn, I don't know if he's going to step into that or not, but who knows. September 28th, Sean Porter and Errol Spence set to go at it, and Gvozdyk and Beeb has been set as well. Wow. So that's a fight to look forward to.
Good calendar coming up.
Yeah, good stuff coming up, man. That'll do it for this edition of Ringside Reporter. As always, you can catch Joe Habib on Twitter at jhabib1 and find our YouTube channel at ringsidereporterlive.com. On Twitter, I'm at ringside73, and we will see you next week.